I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is, but it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting, and I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never
It is that time. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We gonna go ahead and get into it. Shout out to everybody that's in the building on this Friday, Black Friday. Hopefully y'all had a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully everybody's feeling well. Let me see how we looking though. We should be looking good. Ooh wee. Oh, crispy and clean on the screen. All right, we got ones in the chat, so we're good. Welcome y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats of ClassEbeats.com. Today, we're gonna get back into it. We're doing a little bit of a YSL rewind today. Also gonna introduce some new thoughts on what's going on with the whole Drake UMG situation. It's getting wild out here. Absolutely wild. But before I do get into it, let me say what's up to the people. We're starting a little bit late today, but we still in here. What's up, everybody? Shout out to, of course, the awesome, amazing Amy is in the building. Good to see you in here always. Thank you for everything that you do. Shout out to Amy. Investigator Burritos in the building. Oh my gosh. Stuck Farmer. That hard body hoe. Hilton Loves Fanny is up in here. These names are crazy. Jen, Anthony, Deborah, A Fitz, Fran Taylor, Decline, Samantha Crumbly, Ghost, Trina Dean's in here. Rachel Hart. Shout out to Rachel. Jeanette. We've got, who else is in here? Davin, Shay, good to see y'all. Lady E, good morning. Joni, Miss Black. Who else did I miss? We've got JCI in here. Beverly's in the building. All right, good afternoon. Well, good morning. It's not afternoon quite yet, but it might be afternoon in the UK. So shout out to the UK gang. If y'all could do me one major favor, if you could take a second, like the video. Not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm know that y'all are enjoying the show and it shares the video with more people. All right, let me turn this music down a little bit more. So if you guys saw the title of this video, we are going to get into Miss Hylton's closing arguments. Now, I know it's been some time since we've seen the closing arguments and since they happened this past Monday, right? But it was crazy, and I think they were worth reviewing. We haven't been able to review them on the show because of some of the other things that happened in the courtroom, and just because, man, that was a long day of court proceedings, over 11 hours, which is insane. So we're gonna get to some of her closing statements today. We'll cover that, and then to start the show, I want to go over everything that's going on with this Drake UMG situation. A lot of you may be new to the music space and the music industry side. So those of you who are here for the YSL trial or came to this channel because of the YSL trial, I'll give you a little bit of a background into what's been going on with Drake and UMG in the past. Not only that, but this situation that they have going on with Drake wanting to not necessarily sue them, but he's going to be suing somebody because everything that happened the beginning of this year with his battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar has really put a damper on some of his earning ability. And now it's time for somebody to pay. So let's go ahead and get into it. I wanted to look up one more thing before we get into it, and we should be good. If y'all are wondering what the intro song is, that song is Today, and it is by an artist named Keely. So make sure if y'all want to check that one out, add it to your Spotify playlist. Go over to Spotify. You can find her on the Rising Stars playlist as well as the Rising Stars hip hop playlist. And shout out to Keely for that amazing song. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. We're going to be doing some reading today. So hopefully my reading skills have improved since the beginning of this YSL trial. We're going to see. Let me say what's up to a couple more people before we get in here, though. Beverly said it is 4:45 over in the UK. It's afternoon in South Africa. Shout out to South Africa. We've got, oh man, I'm going to mess up your name. Miss Sanders is in here too. RC is in the building as well. Northside's up in here as well. Shout out to Northside. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So recently, Drake filed, well, we'll call it a lawsuit. It's really more of a petition, as you all can see here. And we're going to find out what Drake is trying to get when it comes to this whole situation that happened with him and Kendrick Lamar. Now, as some of you may or may not know, Drake and Kendrick Lamar at the beginning of this year had some beef going back and forth. Kendrick dropped a song with Future Metro Boomin. They went back and forth. There were several songs, and at the end of it, I mean, I think we can all agree that Kendrick won that battle. So shout out to Kendrick Lamar, taking home the win. Had the biggest song of this year with Not Like Us. If you haven't heard it yet, make sure you go check it out. And Drake, since then, he's just been doing Drake things, making some music, and they haven't really performed that well. But that's besides the point. Getting into this petition, Drake is really, I don't want to say upset, but he really went and did a deep dive into the situation with Kendrick Lamar dropping that final track, which was Not Like Us. And it seems to be there's a lot more to the success of that song that meets the eye. Now, I'll go into a little bit of background. Of course, I have experience in the music industry, and we reviewed a lot of this as it happened with the Kendrick Lamar Drake situation. And I'll tell you guys what exactly some of these statements means when we're talking about using bots for artists to boost their music, which is a regular practice in the music industry, or different types of promotion tactics that are mentioned in this petition. But we're going to go ahead and get into it. Again, if y'all haven't yet, please make sure you like the video. Likes are free, and it really does help the channel continue to grow. Here we go. The Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of New York. Here we go. In the matter of the application of Frozen Moments LLC, that is Drake's LLC, by the way, the petitioner, for an order pursuant to Section 3102 of the Civil Practice Law and Rules to compel pre-action disclosure from UMG Recordings Incorporated and Spotify USA Incorporated. Now, these terms are very important. What does this pre-action disclosure mean? It basically means discovery. So someone's about to get sued. He's not necessarily suing UMG. It's good for the headlines. It's good for to get people to click on the titles. But Drake at this point is not suing UMG. He's just saying, hey, we're going through discovery. We want you guys to give us the information that we're looking for. And in this petition, we're going to find out exactly what he's trying to get. Petitioner, Frozen Moments LLC. Petitioner is going to be mentioned, or it's going to be mentioned moving forward, or as Frozen Moments, by and through its undersigned attorneys, represents petitions the court pursuant to New York Civil Practice Law and Rule, CPLR. It's going to be mentioned further for an order granting limited pre-action disclosure from respondents UMG Recordings Incorporated and Spotify USA Incorporated as well. They're going to be mentioned or referred to as Spotify moving forward, and directing the preservation of relevant evidence in the possession of custody or control of UMG. Guys, when it comes to UMG is bleeding right now. And it's bad. It's really bad. Not only are they mentioned in this petition, UMG was also mentioned in a couple of the lawsuits that took place or that are being charged against Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. Y'all may not remember that. If you missed it, go back and watch the videos on my channel where we reviewed a lot of these lawsuits, and UMG was mentioned. And it was implied that UMG not only enabled what Diddy was doing, but they were actually behind a lot of the things that were happening in some of these freak offs. You know what I'm saying? There were people from UMG that were involved with getting certain people to these parties. And they were mentioned in a couple of these lawsuits. Obviously, they want to get out of it. Not only that, but UMG has a big part in a big stake in what Drake is doing as well, because he just signed like a $600 million deal with UMG when it comes to him being able to release his music. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and keep going. Nature of this dispute. In his memo to staff reflecting on highlights of 2021, the CEO of UMG, Lucian Grange, who's come under fire recently, remarked on it being harder than ever for artists to break through the noise. 60,000 songs are added to Spotify every single day. Spotify is the world's most popular audio streaming subscription service. As of the end of the third quarter of 2024, Spotify boasted more than 640 million monthly active users, which is insane, and 252 million subscribers. Killing it. Spotify pays music companies like UMG for the right to license songs so it can play them on its streaming and subscription platforms. In 2023 alone, Spotify paid more than $9 billion in royalties to music labels and producers. I am one of those people who got paid from Spotify, so shout out to Spotify. Hip hop is one of the most popular genres on Spotify, accounting to nearly a quarter of all streams on Spotify globally in 2023. Spotify and UMG have a strong standing symbiotic business relationship. Now, this is where things start to get weird and people have issues with it. Spotify and UMG and record labels in general have a very, very close relationship. Obviously, they have to, because if you want to listen to Taylor Swift is under UMG. Spotify has to be like, hey, UMG, what's it going to take for us to get Taylor Swift's music on the platform? We get paid, you guys get paid, we'll give you a certain percentage, right? But the issue comes from, and we're going to see this here moving forward throughout this petition, is that how much of Spotify's business is reliant on a record label, the biggest record label in the world right now, which is UMG. We're going to see that moving forward. As one of Spotify's earliest supporters, UMG entered into a multi-year global license agreement with Spotify in 2020. UMG and Spotify collaborate on strategic marketing campaigns. Keep that in mind as we move forward. And products. In 2024, announced an expansion of their strategic partnership through which Spotify will amplify music discovery and social interaction and enhance fans' experience across the platform for UMG's family of artists and songwriters. Based on UMG's financial reporting, y'all listen to this, Spotify paid UMG around $2.28 billion in 2023. Which amounted to 19% of UMG's total revenues in 2023. So a fifth of what this multi-billion, probably close to $1 trillion record label makes comes from Spotify. So you think they're having regular phone calls between each other and have a close relationship? I mean, 2.2 billion will definitely do it for you. Streaming is essential to UMG's current bottom line and its future business strategy. In a report related to the third quarter of 2024, UMG noted that nearly 29% year-over-year decrease in downloads and other digital revenue because of the continued format shift towards streaming across the music industry. UMG's long-term strategy relies on accelerating the growth and monetization form streaming and subscription. In October 2024, UMG unveiled a new slogan, Streaming 2.0. Oh, God. I'm not going to get into it right now, but UMG is just interesting when it comes to their thoughts on streaming, but we'll get at that later. Which illustrates the importance of UMG places on saturating the streaming market. In 2024, UMG did not rely on chance or even ordinary business practices to break through the noise on Spotify and likely other music platforms. It instead launched a campaign to manipulate, and saturate the streaming services and airways with a song Not Like Us in order to make that song go viral, including by using bots and pay to play agreements. This is my least favorite part of this petition because, guys, again, if you've been watching this channel, you've seen interviews that I've done with folks who have been in the music industry, specifically my guy Chad Focus. And Chad Focus actually went into great detail about how record labels use bots and use pay to play and use radio stations to promote or boost an artist's music and their plays and just their visibility overall. This is standard practice. Drake himself has benefited from these practices. It can be proven. It can easily be seen. But what it looks like they're arguing here is that maybe UMG just took it one step too far, or they at least have knowledge of somebody who took it a step too far. And not only are they hurting Drake, but they're going against the rules and the laws that apply to music promotion. So this is where it starts to get a little gray. And I really look down on people who complain about a system that they benefited from. I mean, whether that be the NBA players or it be people in the music industry. So this kind of gets on my nerves when Drake especially has something to say about this, because we all know it's a part of the game, right? Number 6, UMG released Not Like Us or the song on May 4th, 2024. Pursuant to various contract rights, UMG, via its division Interscope Records, has exclusive control over the licensing of that song, meaning they decide who gets to stream and play that song. Upon or on information and belief, UMG charged Spotify licensing rates 30% lower than its usual licensing rates for Not Like Us in exchange for Spotify affirmatively recommending the song to users who are searching for other unrelated songs and artists. You can't do that. This is where things start to get weird now, because we're going to get into why or what Spotify did, what they're alleging Spotify did to push this song so much. And it gets wild here, y'all. So check it out. Neither UMG nor Spotify disclosed that Spotify had received compensation of any kind in exchange for recommending the song. On information and belief, Spotify pays UMG licensing fees through the wires or mails. Now, Drake wouldn't really care about this, right? I mean, why does he care if Kendrick Lamar is successful or not? Who cares? The issue is the way they made Kendrick Lamar successful, specifically with Not Like Us, because what does Kendrick Lamar say what are one of the lines in Not Like Us? It's certified lover boy, certified. Yeah, I'm not going to say the word here on YouTube. So UMG, as we saw in the past, or we won't say UMG, we won't even say Spotify. Through some means, we saw several people who were saying when they tried to look for a song or they typed in certified lover boy, which is the title of one of Drake's most recent albums, what would come up is Not Like Us. And Drake said, hey, listen, y'all are messing with my money now, because people are typing in certified lover boy on these streaming platforms and they're using Siri and say, hey, Siri, I want to listen to Certified Lover Boy. What pops up? Not Like Us. Not a great look for Drake. And you can go and you can even see TikToks and videos and shorts on YouTube, on Instagram, where people were showing that they would say and ask these different platforms to play Certified Lover Boy, and that's the song that pops up. It's going to be mentioned here later. UMG directly or through Interscope also conspired with and paid currently known parties to use bots to artificially inflate the spread of Not Like Us and deceive consumers into believing the song was more popular than it was in reality. I don't care about this because every single record label, every single artist does this. I don't care about the bot part. Bots are software programs designed to mimic human behavior to appear to be real social media accounts. One individual known to Petitioner revealed publicly on a popular podcast that Mr. Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's label, Interscope, paid him via third parties to use bots to achieve 3 million streams on Spotify in the first day of the release of Not Like Us, with the goal of jumpstarting the song's spread and turning into a crazy hit on the platform. Again, this is used. I just think the reason that Drake or his crew is upset is because they went overboard with it and it's hurting his bottom line, which doesn't make sense because UMG benefits in some ways from Drake's success, or do they? We'll see here in a second. The whistleblower describes Spotify as the easiest platform to bot, which is true, because it does not, like other streaming platforms, have certain security measures when it comes to bot protection. And the security measures being, some of these platforms force you to sign in to listen to music. They force you to make an account to listen to music. Spotify does not do that, which makes it easier to bot. And again, the reason I know this is because we talked with Chad Focus. We did an interview with him. Y'all really should go watch it. And I'll put it in the description of this video as well. And he talks about exactly the process that happens when people try to bot platforms like Spotify, SoundCloud, all of that. And it's insane and crazy to see. But a lot of platforms like Spotify are so easy to bot because they don't force you to make an account to listen to something. I think YouTube is the same way as well. So something to think about moving forward here. The whistleblower describes Spotify as the easiest platform to bot because it does not like other streaming platforms have certain security measures when it comes to bot protection, quote unquote. The whistleblower further revealed that on May 6, 2024, an individual affiliated with Interscope sent him a payment of $2,500 via the digital payment platform Zelle, which is owned by a number of banks, and that he was promised another $2,500 and a percentage of the song's total sales for this initial push, which is rare. Most of the time, you don't get a percentage of sales, even if you're a producer on the track. And the person they're talking about here is DJ Academics. Interviewed somebody who claimed that they were the person who Kendrick's camp reached out to bot this song. And he even went through and he showed example of it. Again, we reviewed that video here. Pretty crazy to see. If y'all want to check it out, you can go find that on DJ Academics platform. On information and belief, UMG hired other unknown third parties to use bots to promote Not Like Us and also to inflate the streams of Not Like Us music video, which is going to be referred to as the video moving forward, which UMG first published on July 4th, 2024. UMG appears to have used several tactics with other streaming services. On information and belief, UMG paid or approved payments to Apple Inc. Oh, not Apple Incorporated, to have its voice activated digital assistant Siri purposely misdirect users to Not Like Us. Yeah, this is no good. Online sources reported that when users asked Siri to play the album Certified Lover Boy by recording artist Aubrey Drake Graham, aka Drake, Siri instead played Not Like Us, which contains the lyric certified, I'm not saying it, an allegation against Drake, which is nasty work, but hey, shout out to them. UMG engaged in similar pay to play schemes to increase the airplay of Not Like Us on the radio. Petitioner has obtained information from third party indicating that at least one UMG employee made payments to an independent radio promoter serving as an intermediary who had agreed to transfer those payments to certain radio stations and or radio station employees. The radio station subsequently played or caused to be played Not Like Us without disclosing that they had been paid to do so. So it's not a problem to do it. You just have to say, oh, this is a paid promotion from. This practice is known as payola and is prohibited by Communications Act of 1934. It's going to be tough to prove and has been the subject of regulatory scrutiny by a number of executive agencies. Again, this is nothing new. Artists are doing this and have done this and will continue to do it moving forward. Drake is calling it out in this situation because obviously got overblown is hurting his bottom line. In 2006, UMG agreed to pay $12 million in a settlement to New York Attorney General following an investigation involving accusations that UMG executives had used a broad array of pay-to-play tactics to secure radio airplay for music. In connection with UMG's settlement, then New York Attorney General Elliot Spitzer, explained, consumers have a right not to be misled about the way in which music they hear on the radio is selected. He continued to say that pay-for-play makes a mockery of claims that only the best or most popular music is broadcast. Separately, in 2005, UMG was sued by two radio station companies alleging fraudulent pay-to-play practices. While historically payola has been thought of in terms of paying radio stations to play songs, in February of 2022, the Federal Trade Commission released guidance stating that by paying an influencer to pretend that their endorsement to review is untainted by a financial relationship, this is illegal payola. So you just have to tell if this is a promotion or not. And YouTube has a lot of tools in place for this, as well as many other platforms. You can usually mark most posts or most videos as a paid promotion. On information and belief, UMG employed a similar scheme by paying social media influencers to promote and endorse the song and the video. Talking about Not Like Us, the music video, Not Like Us, the song. For example, petitioner understands that UMG paid the popular NFR podcast, which has nearly 300,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 330,000 followers on X, to promote Not Like Us and its video without disclosing the payment as part of a deal with UMG. The NFR podcast published podcast episodes, tweets, and other content publicly about the song. Man, where my money at? I mean, they didn't have to give me 12 million, but they could have given me, let's see, we got about a third, half. We got about a fourth of their following. Why couldn't we get, a cool million or something? Dang, y'all, I would have promoted it. And in a sea change for UMG's internal policy, UMG removed the song's copyright restrictions on YouTube. It happened here, and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the song for the first time in UMG history, which further incentivized influencers to spread the song. And y'all might remember, if you were still here on the channel, that everyone was shocked that UMG did this. Usually you can play 2 seconds of a song that is under a major record label, specifically UMG, and that thing gets shut down. They will shut down your whole video. You're not getting monetization from it. And in some cases, the video gets flagged, you get a copyright strike, and it has to be taken down. In this case, the entire content creation world could not believe that, well, they were giving credit to Kendrick Lamar for this, but Kendrick Lamar removed the copyright restrictions, and we were able to make a lot of money from not only breaking down the song, for streaming the song, for commenting on the song. And Kendrick Lamar, we were really able to cash out about that. Now, the issue with that was a month or so later, they said, we take it back. And then everybody was getting the songs and the videos were getting flagged, and then no more money from that. But it was a brilliant strategy on their part. I don't think they have a case here in this instance by removing the copyright restrictions, because they're allowed to do that if they want to. But it's a smart move on their part. UMG scheme to ensure Not Like Us broke through on Spotify and elsewhere worked. Not Like Us broke Spotify's records, and Interscope posted on its X account that Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us becomes the fastest rap song to reach 300 million Spotify streams. It only took 35 days, which is insane. To date, Not Like Us has almost 900 million streams on Spotify and holds the record for the biggest single day streams of a hip hop song and the most streamed diss track in Spotify history. Oh, that's tough. Not Like Us has spent 27 weeks on Spotify's city chart for New York City, which ranks the weekly streaming popularity of songs by users in New York, New York. Within a week of its initial release, Not Like Us broke the record for the most streamed song in a 7-day period with 96 million streams. After UMG published the video, Not Like Us returned to the #1 spot on Billboard Hot 100, which is garbage, by the way. Shout out to Billboard, but whatever. And in the same week, the song was streamed an additional 53.8 million times and played on the radio an additional 40 million times. From July 4th to August 8th of 2024, the video ranked first on YouTube's weekly top music video chart. On November 13th, 2024, the iHeartRadio leaderboard reported that Not Like Us was the second most popular song on the platform. On New York City radio, Not Like Us remains as of the date of this filing, a top 40 hit on the popular music and hip hop stations, including Z100, Power 105.1, and WQHT. From May 9th to August 15th, the song was among the top 10 of all songs streamed in New York City. This is crazy. UMG touted the record-breaking success. On July 16, 2024, Interscope reported on X that the song had become the best-selling rap song of 2024 in the US. I don't know, y'all. I'm looking at this. It seems like UMG, they're not all to blame for this, but something's going on between UMG and Drake. We haven't talked about the relationship that Drake has with UMG too much, but UMG and Lucian Grainge specifically, they have a very close relationship and a lot of money at stake when it comes to Drake. $600 million man did a crazy deal with them. And by the end of his deal, he is going to have ownership of a lot of his music, which could be a bad thing for UMG. Now, in this sense, again, Drake isn't suing UMG. He's just telling them, hey, I want y'all to tell me what happened so I can hold whoever needs to be held accountable. UMG, obviously, they're not going to be in trouble for this. They're the biggest record label in the world. They can do pretty much whatever they want to. And they have a lot of control behind what Drake does too. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward, because as we're going to see here shortly, UMG says, hey, if you want to sue Kendrick Lamar, go ahead. Yo, we don't care. Let them burn. We're going to make our money regardless. UMG posted on his X account about the song's charting at as the most streamed song of the week. On August 29th, UMG posted on X with a link to a Summer Hits 2024 playlist by Spotify and the caption, Song of the Summer? UMG fam lands 4 out of 5 on Spotify. Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish and other songs that we're not really worried about. UMG schemes to artificially inflate the popularity of Not Like Us were motivated, at least in part, by the desire of executives at Interscope to maximize their own profits. UMG executives have an annual incentive program pursuant to which they are rewarded for meeting and surpassing sales and profit projections, among other metrics. Again, nothing new. They do this with all artists. The incentives are largely based on the specific UMG division rather than the performance of UMG more generally. For example, the annual incentive or bonus of Interscope's CEO, John Janik, is based 90% on the financial success of Interscope, which is a subset of UMG, and only 10% on the financial success of UMG generally. Thus, and Kendrick Lamar only has a publishing deal with Interscope. So again, they have a big incentive to push this song in that way, because the more money that makes, the more money they make off of the song. Because he has a publishing deal with them. Now, the other royalties Kendrick he gets or they either go through TDE, but not too sure about the situation on the TDE side. But that's why they would have incentives incentive to do that. Thus, on information and belief, Mr. Janik and other executives at Interscope have been incentivized to maximize the financial success of Interscope through the promotion of Not Like Us and its revitalizing impact on the artist's prior recording catalog, including his first 5 studio albums, which are owned by Interscope. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? This is some, it's some BS. Words mean things, and y'all have to listen to the wording, especially when it comes to these legal documents. He said it's revitalizing impact on the artist's prior recording catalog. He's taking shots at Kendrick. I think people were calling it the Drake stimulus package because since Drake decided to beef with Kendrick Lamar, it essentially revitalized Kendrick's career, which is kind of true if you look at it objectively. I mean, let's be real. And even if you look at the numbers that Kendrick's most recent album is expected to do this first week, it's really not, considering the success of that Not Like Us, it's not looking that great. Petitioner has received information that UMG has taken steps in an apparent effort to conceal its schemes, including but not limited to by terminating employees associated with or perceived as having loyalty to Drake. All right, now we're getting petty. Indeed, UMG has demonstrated that it has no interest in taking responsibility for its misconduct. Over the past several months, Drake has repeatedly sought to engage UMG in discussions to resolve the ongoing harm he has suffered as a result of UMG's actions, which we're aware of, and makes sense that they would come out with this petition because they're going to say, all right, I know y'all can't do anything because you do this with every single artist. I'm just going to force my hand by putting all this in a legal document, and you're going to have to give me something because I need to fight this, and we got to make this go away. We got to fix it because Kendrick didn't win the right way. UMG refused to engage in negotiations and insisted that UMG is not responsible for its own actions. Instead, UMG has pointed the finger at Mr. Duckworth, which is Kendrick Lamar's. Hey, yo. That's his real last name. God, I'm sorry. I'm immature sometimes, y'all. Give me a second. Instead, UMG has pointed the finger at Mr. Duckworth. Insisted that Drake should initiate legal action against Mr. Duckworth rather than UMG, and even threatened to bring its own legal claims against Mr. Duckworth if Drake were to pursue claims against UMG. So basically UMG saying, hey, if you want to sue Kendrick Lamar, please go ahead. We'll actually go in that with you. We gonna sue him too. And whatever you find, yeah, let's go get him. Let's go get our money. And Drake, hey, you're our $600 million boy. We got your back. But Drake, they weren't willing to give Drake what he wanted. So again, they forced his hand. Here's a legal petition. Streaming and licensing is a zero-sum game. Every time a song breaks through, it means another artist does not. UMG's choice to saturate the music market with Not Like Us comes at the expense of its other artists like Drake. As Drake is Petitioner's sole owner, and Petitioner owns the copyrights to Drake's entire catalog, Petitioner suffered economic harm as a result of UMG's scheme. Yeah, they overdid it on this one. And that's tough because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to play the game and you want to use bots in a certain way, fine. But I think the argument here is that they used it in a way that not only affected Drake, but affected every other artist, and specifically Drake's catalog, especially if what they're saying about Apple is true with them using Siri and redirecting all Drake streams to Kendrick streams. I mean, you want to talk about stimulus package. That's just taking it to another level. The parties, okay? Petitioner is Frozen Moments LLC. It's a limited liability. Oh, okay, we don't care about this. It's owned by Drake, basically. Respondent UMG is wholly owned subsidiary of Universal Music Group. We know all that. Don't really care. Respondent, Spotify, USA. We know who they are. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has personal jurisdiction over UMG pursuant to CPLR 302. UMG regularly transacts business within the state. All right. We know who UMG owns. They're connected to Interscope, blah, blah, blah. Petitioner requires pre-action discovery. Here we go. And preservation. So UMG, y'all, you got to get your people together and tell the pursuant or the petitioner exactly what happened and what went down. All right. Frozen Moments has commenced this special proceeding pursuant to CPLR 3102 to seek pre-action discovery to allow petitioner to 1, identify appropriate defendants and frame a complaint for a claim under the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, aka RICO. Oh no. RICO is back, y'all. And identify appropriate defendants and frame a complaint for a claim under Section 349 of the New York General Business Law and Section 340 and Section 340A of the New York General Business Law. Yeah, this is gonna be bad because if they give Drake everything he needs for this, and Drake goes after either Kendrick or TDE, I don't know, or Interscope for that matter, which I can't imagine that he would. This is gonna be rough. So what is going to happen from here on out? Because Drake's beef, as I said, it really isn't with UMG. He just wants UMG to snitch and say, y'all got to tell me what he did and how he did it. Because I know good and dang well ain't no Kendrick Lamar is beating the almighty Drake. So got to give it up. I want to know what happened. I want to know how it happened. And we're going to expose this man. UMG, they don't want any smoke. Especially since they have so much invested in both artists. They're just going to be like, hey, y'all figure it out. Y'all handle it. Here's everything that happened. Just make sure you point the finger at them. And we're probably going to sue them too. Civil RICO. Petitioner has a viable cause for action for civil RICO with predicate acts of wire fraud, mail fraud, and or bribery for UMG's payment to unknown third parties in the form of reduced licensing fees to Spotify. However, petitioner requires additional information in order to frame his complaint and satisfy the heightened Rule 9B pleading standard applicable to complaints sounding in fraud. Specifically, petitioner requires information about the method by which the parties were paid in order to determine which underlying predicate acts to plead, and requires information about which benefits were conferred upon UMG in exchange for payments. Additionally, petitioner lacks sufficient information to identify the third parties who acted in conspiracy with UMG. Do y'all think UMG is going to give up their people? I mean, it's not really their people because it's UMG and then Interscope and then whoever was working on the promotion of Interscope. But you go after the big dogs. They're just going to let the little ones take the fall. You see this in corporate America all the time, even with everything that happened with Wells Fargo. I don't know if y'all know the story about that. All the CEOs and all the executives, they were cool. They just said, oh yeah, everyone who was writing and creating these fraudulent loans, they were the ones that did it. This is what's going to happen here, especially if they push the issue. Man. Deceptive business practices and false advertising. Petitioner has information that agents of UMG paid at least one third party to use bots to stream the song on Spotify. And on information and belief, the practice extended to multiple third parties to artificially stream the song and video. It's going to be hard to prove. UMG also gave financial benefits to Spotify and other unknown third parties to promote and play the song and video without disclosing those payments. UMG then touted the success of the song and video, knowing the success was artificially inflated by its own manipulation. These practices harm consumers. Yep, we talked about this before. They also violate the New York Deceptive Businesses Act and the New York False Advertising Act. Without the requested pre-litigation discovery, petitioner lacks sufficient information to identify the known but anonymous third-party streamer and to identify any additional streamers whom UMG paid. Petitioner also lacks sufficient facts to frame the complaint regarding what was exchanged for UMG's payment. So again, this is not an official lawsuit. This is just a petition. So when the complaint comes through, then somebody's getting sued. But somebody's getting sued. Petitioner seeks the following limited pre-action disclosure from UMG. You got to give it up, UMG. The documents and the communications sufficient to show the identities of all third parties that UMG, its agents, or anyone works on behalf of UMG/Interscope paid without public disclosure to promote, publish, or recommend the song in accompanying cover image or video, including but not limited to radio stations, influencers, music platforms, and music publications, as well as the dates, methods, and amounts of those payments. Oh my God. DJ Academics is going to be mentioned in the complaint, by the way. So when this complaint actually comes through, unless they settle this behind closed doors, which I can't imagine they would, because of the nature of this, it's about image, right? So they don't want to just settle this behind closed doors and then everything's done. This is all about image. This is all about showing that Kendrick Lamar's success with this song, his success in this rap battle was doctored or manufactured, and Drake is out for blood. So there wouldn't be a reason for them to settle this behind closed doors. This is all about putting it down on Front Street, everybody who's involved. So DJ Academics was the one who was able to find the alleged third party that actually allegedly botted the songs for and the video for Kendrick Lamar's camp. And it's all going to be put out there. And we've already seen if this person who allegedly did this for Kendrick Lamar, their name is put out there and it's identified as this is the person that Academic spoke to, then I mean, it really takes away from all the quote unquote success that Kendrick Lamar achieved in the past 6 months with this song. Documents and communications sufficient to show the identities of all third parties at UMG, its agents, or anyone working on the behalf of UMG/Interscope paid to use bots or any other similar technology to stream the song or video, as well as the dates, methods, and the amounts of those payments, and documents and communications sufficient to show what the third parties agreed to provide and did provide in exchange for those payments. And the interesting thing about this again is UMG, they do this as a standard practice. So are they willing to throw, say, a semi-successful artist under one of their sub record labels like an Interscope to just make this throwaway? Are they willing to take a Kendrick Lamar and throw him under the bus just to get rid of this, so people don't start looking and digging into how they've managed to Taylor Swift, a Drake, SZA, all the other artists under them? Hell yeah. And if Kendrick Lamar has to be the one they sacrifice in this case, so be it. But this is not the first time they've done this. This will not be the last. It's just going to be interesting to see how this ends for Kendrick, because I don't see a way that this ends without Kendrick Lamar just getting exposed. It's gonna hurt a lot of y'all's feelings. And then Drake's gonna drop the Not Like Us remix. Petitioner seeks the following limited pre-action disclosure from Spotify. Oh, not Spotify. Oh no. Documents and communications sufficient to show the dates, methods, and amounts of financial benefit, whether in the form of direct payment or reduced licensing fees, which is, again, it's going to be hard to prove the reduced licensing fees. I guess you could show the standard that has happened between Spotify and UMG over the past years is it's been 10%, or it's been, let's say, 51%. And then on Not Like Us, they reduced it to 30%, right? So it'd be interesting there. Provided to Spotify by UMG/Interscope, its agents, or anyone working on its behalf in exchange for the promotion, publication, or recommendation of the song on Spotify, and 2 documents and communications sufficient to show what Spotify agreed to provide and did provide in exchange for any such benefits. Do y'all think that is in writing? I highly doubt it, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Petitioner has further commenced this special proceeding pursuant to CPLR 3102 to seek an order requiring UMG, including Interscope and all other divisions, as well as UMG's directors, offices, and relevant employees to preserve all documents and communications regarding the song, image, and video during the pendency of any litigation that the petitioner commences against respondent and or any unknown third party of the underlying causes of action discussed herein. Y'all better not destroy any evidence is basically what this says. You destroy evidence, you're gonna be in trouble. If they didn't destroy it before and after the song was successful, I mean, I don't see why they would do this now. Petitioner expects that much of the relevant evidence will be in the form of messages on social media platforms, which is how a lot of A&Rs and artists and record labels communicate back and forth, payment applications, and text messages, including but not limited to iMessage and WhatsApp. Good luck getting the iMessages, which may not be preserved in the usual course. I wonder what that means. Petitioner is aware that senior executives at UMG regularly communicate for business through messaging platforms and applications. So they probably have their own software that they use. Exhibit A verified petition is a proposed subpoena. Ooh, to UMG, commanding UMG to provide the UMG requested information. Oh my goodness. Exhibit B, verified petition to a proposed subpoena. Oh, they subpoenaed Spotify. Oh my gosh. Exhibit C, the verified petition or is a proposed order authorizing pursuant to CPLR 3102 the issuance of subpoenas in the form of subpoenas attached as Exhibit A and B. So they're subpoenaing. Oh my goodness. Spotify and UMG. Goodness. No previous applications have been made for the relief requested herein. Wherefore, petitioner respectfully requests the court enter an order pursuant CPLR 3102, Exhibit A and Exhibit B, these subpoenas. Who is this signed by? Michael J. I'm going to mess up his last name. Michael J. G, which is going to be the lawyer attorney from, was it Frozen Moments? Right. And then you've got M, Annie. I don't know. So who we got down here? Verification. Aubrey Drake Graham affirms the following to be true under the penalties of perjury pursuant to civil practice law and rules 2106. Signed by Aubrey Drake, the GOAT Graham. There it is, y'all. That's the whole thing. So what do y'all think is going to happen here? Because this is not going away. I don't see how this goes away unless Lucian Grange himself calls Drake and says, man, you got to let this go. You got to let this go. You got to let this go. Either way, somebody's going down. For Drake to go this far and to petition UMG and Spotify, I mean, this is an all-out war. Now, UMG can step aside out of the way of the bus, get that elbow, knock Kendrick Lamar into the path of the bus and say, hey, Drake, it's all yours. To me, that seems the way that would go. But let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. I know y'all are going to go crazy on this video. So I can't wait to hear what y'all say about this. Shout out to everyone who was in here. Thank y'all for letting me run through that because this is going to be fun to watch. I love seeing the Titans go at it. Clearly, Drake really isn't trying to go after UMG like that. And I think that would be a mistake if he were. He just wants to know who did it and how they did it, because he just says there is no way Kendrick Lamar got him like that. And shout out to Mr. Duckworth. Oh my God. I knew that was Kendrick's name, but reading it and saying it out loud, it's tough. I know Smokey's in here. Shout out to my guy Smoking the One, the biggest Kendrick Lamar fan, even though he's better than Kendrick. I said it here first. He said ClassE woke up and said, oh man. Pocket Bully says Drake fans can't stop crying. God damn. Well, here's the thing. I will say I just can't. I respect Kendrick as an artist and his writing ability and everything he's accomplished, but I'm definitely not a Kendrick fan. I find his music hard to listen to. If you just take the lyrics by themselves, major respect. So just from Drake's popularity over the past 2 decades, I would definitely say I'm more of, well, not 2 decades, probably 15 years. I would say I'm more of a Drake fan. But if you look at the way the game was played, if you're going to do the back and forth, do the back and forth and keep the standard rules. But if you're going to go above and beyond and you're going to start redirecting songs and overbotting the song, you're doing too much. Just play the game and let it happen. And it sounds like to me, from what Drake is laying out in this petition, that Kendrick, he just really went outside the bounds of playing the game. Would Kendrick and could Kendrick have won without all this? I think so. I think Drake's last track, what was it, The Heart Part 6, where he basically went on the defense. For me, with this whole battle, that just ended everything. I said, Drake, you lost, man. I don't know why. I don't know why you went that way, but it wasn't worth it. So all this extra stuff wasn't necessary. I don't know why Kendrick felt the need to just blow this out of proportion. So, hey, it's on him. If this is the case and they really went above and beyond to push that hard, it's going to really be a stain on Kendrick Lamar. Whatever happens, it's going to be a stain on Drake too for crying about this. So I agree with you there, but I think it's going to look even worse if Kendrick just went way out of bounds and super boosted these numbers, because this is kind of lame. Like, if you're good, be good, man. Smoking the One says, boo, Kendrick. Oh, don't say that. That's your guy, man. He's mad at Kendrick because he got his song taken down. That's why. Drake's career is about to be ruined. What? No. Drake is not going anywhere, y'all. This is a $600 million man. I'm not going to read this full article because we have to get Ms. Hylton in here. But I mentioned this in the past, and a lot of you who are new to the music industry side of things, you're going to want to see this. Let's see. Let's see. Boom. I think this is the one that I bring up before. And this is why I say Drake is not going anywhere. Check this out. This was back in 2022. Drake strikes a massive multifaceted deal with UMG, who we're talking about here, Universal Music Group. And they say he signed a LeBron-sized deal. What did Drake get? Let's skip ahead here until I see the numbers. Yeah. We give the background. Don't really care about that. Drake is awesome. We get it. We're going to go 50 million. Let me find it. Let me find it. I probably passed by it. Dang, my bad, y'all. I just want to find the numbers. You wouldn't know it from Sir Lucian Grain's tone in today's Universal Music Group Q1 earnings call, but the chairman of the world's biggest music company confirmed what had long been expected, but never to be announced, that Drake has entered into a massive multifaceted deal with the company that encompasses recording, publishing, and merchandise and visual media projects. Such expanded portfolios, as Grange noted on the call, spanning multiple creative lanes and revenue streams, also include the recently announced extension and expansion of The Weeknd's deal with UMG, which aligns him, like Drake, with Republic Records. Of course, the nagging question is, how big is Drake's bag? Hey, yo. I would never ask that in my entire life. But anyway, we'll continue. One insider describes the arrangement as LeBron-sized. Hey, yo. I'm gonna let it go. We got to chill out on these terms, though. Good Lord. Without putting a number on it, Drake himself seemingly referenced such a deal in the lyrics to Lemon Pepper Freestyle off his Scary Hours 2 EP, which includes the lyrics 360 up front. It all comes full circle, or 360 million. He also alludes to owning his masters on the Remorse, the track of Certified Lover Boy, and in the Migos, Having Our Own Way, Drap Rats. Billionaires talk to me different when they see my pay stub from Lucian Grange, name checking the UMG chief executive. All right. So Drake is, gosh, Drake is making so much money off of UMG. It would not make sense for him to go after or sue the people that are paying him all this money, right? So again, this is Drake's camp forcing his hand, saying, listen, y'all, you know exactly what I want. Just give me what I want. UMG's like, I really want to go into this. Spotify's like, no, hell no. We just had our first good quarter since the company's been around. Drake, leave us out of this. And he said, no, I'm gonna get all y'all. So if you need to throw Interscope under the bus, go ahead and do it. UMG has long money. UMG is not going anywhere. But now he sues them. He's not suing them. I know that's the word out there that he sues them. He is not suing them. What he's saying is, I want you all. This is essentially a subpoena, right? He's trying to get all the information he needs subpoenaed. I want UMG, I want Spotify to give me all the information you have so I can go after either Interscope or Kendrick or TDE or whoever. 2022 UMG Drake contract has a bot clause. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't seen it. Texas T says Drake is done. $400 million, $600 million. I promise you, Drake is not going anywhere, y'all. I keep saying this. Career ending for Drake. He knows that's how his nerdy blackface white boy. He's not. Is Drake white? I'm pretty sure Drake is considered black, but I don't know. Y'all be doing that weird drop stuff. That's the only way you stayed on top. Ack is a big face liar. Y'all say Drake is done. Meet the Duckworths.
Hey, yo.
Yo, shout out to Amy for the 5 membership too. Amy just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Amy, for the love and support. If you got a membership from Amy, make sure that you say thank you. We're gonna get into Miss Hylton's exciting closing statements here in a second. Thank God my name is Aubrey Duckworth. Oh my God. Duckworth is crazy. Rip whose career, or rip which platform? It's not going to be Spotify, and it's not going to be UMG, and it's not going to be Drake. Again, I told y'all, UMG, aka Interscope, only has a publishing deal with Kendrick Lamar. So, I mean, that's a lot of money, granted, and I could do the numbers and try and figure out what that amounts to, but the deal they have with Drake is way more valuable than Kendrick Lamar ever could have been. The reason UMG isn't tripping right now, because they know that Drake's going Drake, and he has all the resources, and he has the energy, and he has the work ethic, and he has the connections to be able to do what he needs to do. Kendrick is not. I mean, up until recently, when's the last Kendrick Lamar album that dropped? C. Clark says Drake is really going to be exposed. Wouldn't make sense. Dre just says, even if Kendrick had bots, it makes no difference. We all know they have been used for Drake in the past. That 30% off licensing fee is a legal feature of Spotify. Yes, that is true. But when dealing with the record labels, specifically, you can't give that deal in exchange for promotion. And that's the issue you run into. Ghost says UMG trillions with a T. Drake might suddenly have a mysterious yeeting. I don't think so. Not yet, anyway. Is Drake suing Spotify, or are people using his music? Drake is getting ready to sue, and he's either going to sue Kendrick Lamar directly, Mr. Duckworth. Interscope or TDE if they were involved at all, because allegedly someone from TDE was the person who set up everything with the bots side of things. So TDE is going to be mentioned in the lawsuit. Academics is going to be mentioned in the lawsuit. UMG, depending on how they play this, they'll either directly or through Interscope is going to be mentioned in this lawsuit or claim. Spotify is most definitely going to be mentioned in this claim. And this is happening, y'all. You do not have this petition and ask the court to give you these subpoena these records without something moving forward. So they're getting ready to go to war, and legally it's going to be fun to watch. Ghost said, bye Kendrick Lamar's career. Listen, y'all, I hope Kendrick Lamar enjoyed this year, because if you look at all the factors that are at play, Kendrick Lamar is the person that you throw under the bus in this situation. You have the least to lose from Kendrick just disappearing. You have the least to lose from him not producing as much. And if Kendrick wants to try and fight this, and you want to go after UMG, I mean, go after Drake, fine, but that's going to be difficult in itself because he has UMG behind him. Yeah, Kendrick's about that. You want to talk about somebody getting yeeted? It's going to be that guy. So I hope he enjoyed this last year, because I'm disappointed that many are just taking this petition as fact when it's anything but. And the world says, shame, shame, shame. I forgot to like on my way in. Don't make the same mistake I did. Hit that like button. Come on, the world's end. Come on now. Duckworth is a legendary name. What? Yikes. Jason is in here, says, is that why K-Dot dropped the album out of nowhere? Oh, man. I don't know. Could be. Could be, but that seems like Kendrick way. So I don't know. The album being dropped doesn't make any sense, but Jason makes a good point. Is this Kendrick trying to get some money, get his money up before he goes to war? Because this is war. I hope y'all are ready for this, because we're going to cover it. It's going to be fun to watch from a legal standpoint. He's acting like Trump in the stolen election. Oh my gosh. Ty, the thing about that is, again, if you're going to play this game, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. And it seems like Kendrick they were doing too much. Dre just says Kendrick is not with TDE anymore. Yeah, but he's still very well connected. And I mean, I won't go into it. Smoking the One says, I literally hear that ish in random places, cars, houses. Can't try the bot card. I for sure played that ish in a ridiculous amount of times. Oh, granted, it's a great song. But the way you go to promoting it is important. And you can't ignore that. Remember when Spotify was sued because of Drake? Yep. The World's End says, Dre, I completely agree. This is a scattershot petition. His legal team would need to be a lot more specific moving forward. Yeah, it's not a bad petition. I think Drake's going to get what he wants from UNG and Spotify, and then he can move forward more precisely. But this is like, hey y'all, I'm really about to do this. I'm about to do it. So which way do you want to go? My guy Vaughn says, just as much as they say this ain't hip hop, if it shows they pushed him, then you got to call it even. It really was a 20v1 from what I've seen. Yeah, you're correct, Vaughn. But still, I mean, Drake went into this knowing what it was and who he was going up against. So you got to take responsibility for that. But I don't think, what does Drake have to gain from this? I think just maybe from a personal standpoint, or from an ego standpoint, if you want to say that, he gets to see what actually went down and how much actually went into Kendrick trying to beat him in that way. I think if you look at, in my personal opinion, if you look at it just purely based on the music, Drake ruined it with the Heart Part 6. He lost. So you want to talk about the hip hop side? Drake was up until that point to where he's like, oh y'all, hey, I'm not a pedophile. Please stop calling me a pedophile. And as a hip hop fan and as a fan of beef and rap battles like this, I was like, Drake, that was the wrong move. So I don't think he can win anything there. But when it comes to the public eye and how he's viewed, if he can go out there and drop track after track after track saying, yeah, you tried to beat me, the only way you could is with bots, and now your numbers looking iffy because your last album, I mean, that's all that you got. I don't know. Drake lost in hip hop, but still winning the Canadian way. Oh, Drake is gonna Drake. Y'all keep saying Drake is, his career is, Drake is not going anywhere. I'm telling you. Yeah, you see that, Hollywood Co? They let him sleep on me. We're gonna get into Miss Hylton here in just 2 seconds. Sun Water Flow says the Heart Part 6 doesn't seem like the real response though. That's where he said he would sue. Some people out here listen. And even when we broke that down when it first happened, I said, there's just something not right about this. And Sun Water Flows, I said kind of the same thing. I'm like, man, I think there's going to be another track from Drake because you can't end like this. Right? Drake must have been seeing those numbers and he's like, nah, we're not doing this. Hollywood Co, they're sleeping on me, man. It's fine. All right, let's get into Miss Hylton. I know y'all are here. Y'all want to see Miss Hylton pop off. So, I've got it loaded up and ready to go. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video so far. If y'all could take 2 seconds, like the video. Not only is it free, not only does it take 2 seconds, less than that, but it really does help the show continue to grow, and it shares the video with more people. And it lets the YouTube algorithm know y'all are having a good time. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. My guy Vaughn says, I think he gained the respect that one man can't take him out alone. Yeah, no, for sure. And he was, like I said, he was up until he dropped that part 6. Honestly, I wish he wouldn't have. I wish it would have just left it at Not Like Us and been like, you got me, but I'm gonna get you on the legal side. Denise D says, all I can say is the song was hot. Every car this summer was playing that song. My grandson, who is 2, everywhere he heard it, that beat would be that beat, he would start dancing. Yeah, shout out to Mustard, went crazy. All right, here we go. Let's see what Miss Hylton's got to say. Y'all let me know if the sound is good. Miss Hylton up there dripping in blood. Thank y'all for liking the video too. What's Mr. Abadi doing? Yeah, I ain't mad on your take on that. But he knows he's known for giving out his diary. The sound is good. All right, here we go.
All right, it's gonna be our last break for the day as well.
Oh, shoot. This was before the break. Hold on a second, y'all. We gonna skip ahead. Here we go. This is where it all goes down. Ghostwriters. Everybody's got ghostwriters. Everybody. Even the great Kendrick Lamar. Even the greatest rapper alive, Lil Wayne. Well, let me put Amy in the banner too.
Doing the where'd she go? She needs to. She's getting here.
Myron says, is it legal? No, but record labels can do what they want. Y'all hear how much money they generate? Yeah, I'm Smokey's ghostwriter, but I'm not supposed to say that.
Hilton, I know that you're, batting cleanup, I guess.
Ooh.
But keep in mind.
Dreja not playing Not Like Us at
They're not used to
the
staying
Super
until
Bowl would be
7 or 8.
insane. No, they have to. He has to play Not Like Us. Oh my gosh! If they didn't play Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, no way.
Let's hope she doesn't play that one, but yeah.
That would be crazy. And K. Smith said, "Is it common? I mean, really? Yes. Everybody. Drake is a singer, not a rapper. Oh, Myra, come on now. Let's not do that." Let's not do that now. Saying Drake is not a rapper is crazy. Oh, I can't wait to see this. I can't believe I haven't seen this yet.
Thank you very much. All right, Miss Hilton.
Hey, what's up, Dr. EJ?
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
And I get the harsh responsibility of closing you out for the next couple of, for a little while. I'm going to tell you how long it's going to be, but for a little while. And I just want you all to bear with me and bear with us as a state. Mr. Agnes told you this morning that it was kind of like that marathon. They were kind of at that last spot, right before the finish line. And I know this has been a long trial, and like every one of us has said, we thank you for your sacrifice. We know that we have taken you away from family, friends, trips, work, maybe I didn't want to go to work, but from work, to be here with us. And so we're going to ask of you just to bear with us for a little while longer. Now, Mr. Weinstein said something very interesting as he closed. He said something to the effect of, the state should be ashamed of themselves for targeting people of color. And I was a little taken aback.
She didn't like that.
Because I am a person of color. The majority of this prosecution team are people of color.
Oh.
And we are not targeting people of color. We are targeting gang members who decided to wreak havoc on communities in Fulton County. And the ironic part of the community that they violated were those communities were communities of color. See, no one rarely talks about the victims in this case. But the victims in this case...
All right. I'm sorry, y'all, to interrupt. But already with the BS...
Stop the cap.
Victims?
What?
Victims?
What?
Can y'all tell me in the comments and in the chat how many murder charges were dropped during this trial? And we want to talk about victims.
What?
Please don't do that, Miss Hylton. Please don't do that. How many was it? 4? 5? 6?
Most of them are people of color. Because in Fulton County, you don't get to victimize anyone in our county without being held accountable for your actions. And what we're going to ask of you today is hold both of these defendants accountable for their actions. Because they are guilty of every single crime for which they are charged. But as both Mr. Shard and Mr. Weinstein were talking, I was reminded that what is right is often forgotten or is convenient. And see, in this case for them, it's convenient to blame Kenneth Copeland for the murder of Donovan Thomas. Well, we're going to talk about that doesn't even make sense. For them, it is convenient to tell you that we have not met the elements of RICO because they're just not a gang. They just get YSL tatted on them. They just get snakes tatted on them just for the fun of it.
What is she doing?
That's convenient for them. But that's not the truth. And while it may have taken some time for us to get all that evidence out here, it took a while. Some days the evidence came out good. Some days the evidence came out bad. Some days I had to take a couple of breaks. At the end of the day, the evidence shows what is clear. YSL is a gang. YSL is an enterprise. They commit criminal street gang activity. They murdered Donovan Thomas, murdered Chanel Drinks, and they're guilty. And then I'm also reminded of a story that a colleague told me a long time ago about someone who worked as a Border Patrol officer. And this person worked as a Border Patrol officer for a number of years. And while they were working Border Patrol, a guy would come through the border with a red bike every day. And every day that that person would come through with a red bike, he had a basket on the front of the bike. And inside of the basket was some candy. Now, every day, this guy would come through, and the Border Patrol officer thought something was kind of fishy, but he never found anything. He always found baskets with sand inside of it. This happened for a few months. Well, one day, the Border Patrol guy was leaving that job. He was going on to a new job, and he was at a bar. And who walked into the bar? The guy with the red bike. So the Border Patrol guy says to him, I'm getting ready to leave my job, but I'm interested. There's something was fishy about that red bike. What were you doing with that red bike? And the guy was like, nothing, don't worry about it. Congratulations to you. The night proceeded. The Border Patrol guy got some more drinks in the system and said, you know what? Can you tell me about this red bike? Because something just doesn't seem right. Every time I would see the red bike, it would have sand in the basket. Tell me what was going on. Guy said, don't worry about it. Finally, it's the end of the night. Border Patrol guy is really complicated. He said, just tell me. I'm not going to remember what happened. You're not going to get in trouble. Tell me what you were doing. And what the guy said was, you know how every day you were focused on the basket with the sand? I was smuggling in a new red bike every single day. So you were so focused on what was in the basket that you was missing what was right in front of you. And if you listen to what the defense counsel told you for the last about 3.5 hours that they argued, you're going to miss what's right in front of you. So what's sand in the basket in this case? First things first, stolen jewelry. APD, somebody stole this watch.
I'm going to let her cook.
No one stole the watch. The watch is left back in the house. But they want you to focus on this watch, because if you focus on the watch, you're going to miss the evidence in front of you. Talked about no reports. Viverito, she didn't write any reports. Well, what she told you is, she wrote her information in the affidavits. Affidavits that get sworn before a judge. Probably better than reports, because a judge has to actually read that information. But if you focus on the fact that Viverito didn't write any reports, you're going to miss what's right in front of you. Mr. Wines, he talked about length of time. We talked about that. Knowledge of co-conspirators. I think at one point in time, Mr. Shard said, Mr. Minor, who stabbed Lucci, he doesn't know Mr. Kendrick or Mr. Stillwell? Maybe not. But he knows Khalif Adams, who's the one who helped set up stabbing Lucci. Khalif Adams knows those two. Well, knows Mr. Stillwell. Khalif Adams knows Garlington. And so, some way, somehow, though, Mr. Stillwell knew on February 9th that Lucci got stabbed. Well, how does he know that? How's that in a text message? That wasn't broadcast to the world. So this idea that just because Mr. Myrick doesn't know him specifically does not mean that they're not guilty of the crime for which they committed. They talk about witness credibility, specifically about experts and what our experts said. But if you go back to any of our experts' testimony, Belknap, Dennis, Gaither, Underwood, the things that they talked about, there were examples of it. They talked about YSL was a hybrid gang. It was Bloods and Crips, and they kind of got together. Well, we know that's true because Martinez Arnold is a Crip. Some of them, Mr. Williams was a Blood. You saw when he talked about sex, money, murder. You see them hanging out together. You see them committing crimes together. Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Arnold in a car with guns on their way to Trestle Tree. We can infer, go shoot it up. That's what they talked about when they said it's a hybrid gang. They talked about the music, and we're going to get to the music in a minute. They talked about the fact that gang members use their music in order to brag, promote what they've done in the gang. And we'll see examples of that in a moment. We talked about your duty
Thank you,
earlier
Dr.
today, but
EJ.
again, just to be reminded, you're supposed to be a fair and impartial juror, honestly seeking the truth. You are not to seek doubt. So when you go in the back, you're supposed to say to yourself, what happened on January 10th? What is the truth about that? And is there evidence towards the truth? That is what you're here for. Seek the truth, you follow the law, and you deliberate. Now, I want to tell you this. If you go to the bank to deliberate, and one of your numbers says, I'm not deliberating, I'm going into the bathroom, I'm not doing any of this, you need to bring that to the deputy's attention so they can bring it to the court's attention. Because you have a duty to deliberate. A duty to sit down, evaluate the facts, evaluate the evidence, and apply it to the law.
Oh, she's asking them to snitch? Oh my. Y'all think that was directed at juror 56? He said, my mind's already made up. I ain't think. That was wild that she said that. She told them to snitch. That's insane. Oh my gosh. 56, hey,
let's talk about
she
the
said you're gonna
evidence of
sit
the
your ass.
So earlier this morning, Mr. Adkins talked to you about count 57,
That's crazy.
participation in criminal street gang activity. He talked to you about count 1, conspiracy to violate the RICO Act, and counts 50 and 51. I'm not going to harp on that again, but I thought it interesting when Mr. Weinstein said, well, we haven't proved count 50 and 51 and 57. You know, the state, they're all dressed in red. We are. Red's probably my favorite color. But you know the one thing that's different? We don't do criminal gang activity. And the court's going to define what that is. See, we're not here because people wear the same colors. They can wear all the greens they want. They can wear all the snakes they want. If they all want to tattoo YSL on them, that's fine. We told it's not a crime to be a part of a gang. The crime is when you start doing criminal street gang activity, like murdering Donovan Thomas, murdering Chanel Drinks, murdering Jamari Holmes. That is what the
Prosecutorial
violation is.
misconduct a crime?
Not being a member of a gang.
Technically not, I guess.
So you'll see, and we said it again, that on the left-hand side were the charges for Mr. Kendrick, on the right-hand side were the charges for Mr. Stillwell, and in the middle is what they were both charged with. So Mr. Kendrick is charged with possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. That's from May 9, 2022, when he was found running from Mr. Williams' house. Remember, the officer came and said that they both must have been out of breath and he ran from the house. And the drugs and the guns that were found inside of the house. The marijuana and the guns that were found in the house. So in order to prove this, we have to show that the defendant possessed with the intent to distribute any amount of marijuana. Marijuana includes all parts of the plant. What it does not include is the hemp products and all those other technical terms that I'm not going to try to pronounce for you tonight. We have to show that he possessed it, and it has possessed the marijuana or the firearm. We're going to talk about the firearm in a moment. Possession must be actual, constructive, sold, or joint. So we're going to tell you that it's not actual possession. No one caught him with the marijuana in the hand. We're going to talk about constructive possession. At the time of the alleged offense, he did not have direct physical control over the marijuana or firearm, but did knowingly have both the ability and the intention to exercise control over the marijuana.
So he was in the
No, he
room.
doesn't have sole possession or focus on joint possession. Defendants share possession of marijuana or firearms with at least one other person. What evidence do we have of it? And I know Mr. Wine said we didn't have any evidence. We do. Pictures are evidence. That's direct evidence like we talked about earlier. This is the side of the home of Mr. Williams.
Ooh, that's a nice house.
That's the money counter that was sitting next to the Tupperware bowl full with the marijuana.
Not a crime.
That's the Tupperware bowl full with the marijuana. That's the more marijuana that was in that cabinet in that same kitchen right across from where the Tupperware bowl of the marijuana was. And those are the two guns that were found inside that area. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the testimony that SWAT, when they came, did not immediately make entry into the house. It was like announced, it was loud. So I submit to you that they had the opportunity to put stuff away, to hide stuff, because they didn't just come in immediately, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's the I believe again. Dang, I did not. I wanted to let her cook, but this is such BS.
Right, and so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
So can we go back to her definition? By her definition, was he... How is this constructed possession? I'm gonna let her cook. Was he there? Was he around the weed?
So you can take that into consideration as you deliberate.
Oh my God.
Possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. So the state must prove that the defendants had a firearm on his person or within arm's reach while committing a crime against or involving another person. For Mr. Stillwell, it's murder. For Mr. Kendrick, it's the possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. So how do we show this? On the left is Shannon Stillwell. That is Mr. Drinks inside of the vehicle.
Dang,
we know that
that's
Mr.
tough.
Drinks was shot with a 40 caliber gun, possibly of a Glock, and we're going to talk about this Glock in a moment. So you can infer, although we do not have the gun, that Mr. Stillwell possessed the gun that shot and killed Mr. Drinks because he's dead and because we have the bullet. You can infer that. That's that circumstantial evidence. Your direct evidence is someone is deceased. You have bullets. We know those bullets come from a Glock firearm. So the only way you can infer that the shooter, Mr. Stillwell, possessed a firearm. Mr. Kendrick, again, he had firearms inside of the house at the time when the house was raided. There were two found inside of that cabinet. There was the one that's found on this counter.
Is that his house? What are we doing?
Now, they're also both charged with possession of a firearm by convicted felon. You have to show for Mr. Stillwell, he has 2 counts. And interestingly enough, I was listening, Mr. Shard never talked about count 64. But we're going to talk about count 64. But count 52 is that he's a convicted felon and he had a firearm when he murdered Chanel Drinks. And in count 64, which is when he was apprehended, the gun that was found in the middle of the road, that we charged him with that weapon as well. And then again with Mr. Kendrick, that there were guns and drugs at Allison Drive on May 9th.
I mean, is it possible it was a throwaway? And I mean, she's still basing all of this on the fact that they believe that he killed Shannon Stillwell, which we all know and the jury knows that man did not shoot Shamel Drinks. I said Shannon Stillwell. Shamel Drinks. What are we doing?
And let me also say that in the indictment, possession of a firearm by convicted felon is going to be a lesser included of what is charged. What is charged is a different charge, but possession of a firearm by convicted felon is a lesser charge, and the court is going to instruct you, and you can find both of them guilty so long as you believe that both of them possess a firearm and they have been previously convicted of a felony.
How? Where?
What do you have in evidence? You have State's Exhibit 60G and State's Exhibit 30Q. Both of those are the indictments of Mr. Stillwell, which he was charged with and convicted of a felony. So that is the felony that we're saying he should not have been in violation of, or he should not have possessed the firearm.
Yeah, we don't care about that. Where's the firearm?
Discussed, because he's a convicted felon, he should have never had a firearm when he murdered Chanel Drinks. For count 64, what do we have? Remember, this is on March 17th, after they fled from the Chick-fil-A. And remember, Trooper Campbell came in and said that he found the gun in the middle of the road. You saw the dash cam video when he kind of turned around and found this gun. Then we brought in Mr. Stillwell's former girlfriend at the time, Taisha Alexander. She said that she had bought the gun. That was her gun. That gun came back to Ms. Alexander when we were able to compare the serial numbers on both the gun that was collected and the receipt from Arrowhead Pond. And further, we played these wiretap calls for you.
Hello? Yeah. I don't know. China called like really playing on an IP tape to the Baba house.
Yeah.
Why can't he an IP tape if he in a rental legit?
Yeah.
He got my legit gun.
So the fact that she says he got my legit gun, which is that gun right here, he should never have ever even been in possession of it.
Thank
I don't
you.
know what it is. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on either, because usually they'll call, like, how he got my gun?
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
They'll call me like, come get your gun, but they ain't even called me. So I don't know if where my gun is, I don't know what's going on.
And again, this phone call was done on March 17th, the day he got arrested. The day Mr. Stillwell, got arrested.
All right. Well,
Now for Mr. Kendrick,
we'll let her have
we
that
have
one.
in evidence State's Exhibit 487 BV, which is a certified copy of conviction of Mr. Kendrick. And again,
it's reasonable doubt, right? So I get what y'all are saying. Gigi says can't convict someone of a gun charge when you didn't catch them with the gun and no proof of the murder. Well, the gun charge is probably going to be a tough one. He's probably going to get that possession of a firearm just because is it reasonable to think that his girlfriend's gun just magically appeared out of thin air somewhere near where he got arrested. I mean, come on. So they're probably gonna get him on that one.
Because he's a convicted felon, he
They'll
should
probably
not
get him
have
on
been
64.
in constructive possession of any of these guns that are inside the home. So now, based upon what we have shown you, they are guilty of, right now, count 1, count 50, 51, 52, 54, 57, 58, 61, 63, and 64. So let's spend some time on the murders, because that is what we need to talk about.
They're gonna get Shannon on 64 for sure.
So for the murders, Mr. Stillwell is charged with count 2 and count 49, which is Donovan Thomas Jr. and Shamel Drinks. And Mr. Kendrick is charged solely with count 2, which is the death of Donovan Thomas Jr. You're going to hear the court read you an instruction about intent. Intent is every essential element of any crime must be proved by the state beyond a reasonable doubt. It may be shown in many ways, provided that you, the jury, believe that it existed from the proven facts before you. It may be inferred from the proven circumstances or by acts and conduct, or it may be in your discretion inferred when it is the natural and necessary consequence of the act. Intent does not mean the intention to violate the law or to violate a criminal statute, but it means simply the intention to commit the act that is prohibited by the statute. So what are the elements that we have to prove for murder? That Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Kendrick caused the death of another person, here, Donovan Thomas and Shamel Drake, unlawfully and with malice aforethought. What is malice? It is not necessarily ill will or hatred, rather it is the unlawful intent to kill. You may find malice when the circumstances show that the defendant acted with deliberate intention to unlawfully take the life of another person, or where there does not appear to be significant provocation and all the circumstances show an abandoned and malignant heart. You often hear about premeditation. Some of you like watching these crime shows. The state does not have to prove premeditation to prove murder. So we don't have to sit and say you planned it out and you all mapped it out and that you knew you were going to kill Donovan Thomas or Shamel Drinks right at that moment. If the killing is done with malice, it is murder regardless of how briefly the malicious intent existed. So when Diamante Kendrick rode by the barbershop and they saw Donovan Thomas sitting outside with his friends, and I'm going to submit to you, they started calling saying, yo, Donovan's out here. Let's go do this. That's enough. Or with Shamel Drinks, when Shannon and Garlington are sitting in the car and they're backed in and they see Mr. Drinks pull in and they realize, oh snap, that's the dude from the Shell Cal post. And they see him walking up and they decide at that moment they're going to get him because they're going to get revenge, they're going to get back. That's enough right there. Doesn't have to be days planned. Within moments, that is enough. No specific length of time is required for malice to arise in the defendant's mind. It may be formed in a moment, and instantly a fatal wound may be inflicted. If malice was in the defendant's mind at the time of the act of the killing and moved the defendant to do it, that is enough for the killing to be murder. Now, motive. The law says we don't have to prove motive. You want to know why? Because oftentimes I can't get into the mind of why someone wants to murder somebody. But here, and we're going to talk about it, we have some evidence of motive. Any evidence of motive has been admitted for your use in determining the defendant's state of mind at the time of the killing. So you heard Mr. Atkins talk earlier about parties to a crime. I'm not going to go over all the principles again, but he gave you the example of the bank robbery, right? Everyone who is a part of the crime is responsible.
That's true.
So in this case, for Donovan Thomas, Mr. Kendrick, the driver. Mr. Kendrick, the state's belief, the state's theory, is that he alerted them about where Donovan Thomas was because he was the one that was at the Texaco. He's the one that waited 40-something minutes for the Infinity to pull up. He's the one who got out of the Bonneville and went to the Infinity. He's just as guilty as the ones who pulled the trigger. Nard and Mr. Jackson. He's just as responsible. And that's what parties to a crime says. Every person involved in the murder is just as responsible as the person who pulls the trigger, because you're all acting together.
Thank you, Lane.
Now, we have in Chanel Drinks an individual that you kept hearing about, DeMarco Boyer. And someone brought up that DeMarco Boyer isn't on the indictment. Well, this is the law that's going to be instructed to you. Any party to a crime who did not directly commit the crime may be prosecuted for commission of the crime upon proof that the crime was committed and that that person was a party to it, even though the person alleged to have directly committed the crime has not been prosecuted or convicted, has been convicted of a different crime or degree of crime, is not amenable to justice, or has been acquitted. Mr. Boyer's dates for another day. We're not going to talk about Mr. Boyer today. Today, we're going to talk about Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Kendrick. You can look at presence, companionship, and conduct before and after the commission of the alleged offense. And those things may be considered by you in determining whether or not such circumstances, if any, give rise to an inference or the existence of a conspiracy. So what does that mean? You can look at what they did before, what they did during, and what they did after. And for both of those murders, we're going to talk about conduct before, conduct during, and conduct after. So let's talk about Mr. Donovan Thomas Jr. You heard from his mother, you heard from his father. He was from Atlanta, he had kids, he was in a gang, but he had started to kind of try to get into the music business. And he had started doing that by, one, he had a relationship with Rich Homie Quan. Two, he had just put Lucci on, YSL Lucci. So he was trying to kind of turn that mark and do something different. What did you also hear about Donovan Thomas? That on the night that he was gunned down, that he was at the barbershop, getting his hair cut, his brother was there, and what were they getting ready to do? Meet with their daddy and go watch the football game. I think it was the Ravens and the Patriots. Don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the Ravens and the Patriots. And that's what he was getting ready to do. Spend time with his father. You know that he has a biological brother, but he also has a brother, which Kelvin Watts, who's super close to him, that they are brothers, but not biologically, but they share a brother, so they call themselves brothers. He said he was trying to get in the music industry. That's him with YSL Lucci. That's him with Rich Homie Quan. And so much so that after his death, Lucci had a whole album dedicated to him, Long Live Nut. And we know that Peanuts was his nickname. Now let's go over some timelines, because I think oftentimes we focus just on the murder, but there's some things that led up to that day that is very important for you to consider as you continue to look. So we know in September 2014, Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop shooting. Now Mr. Copeland, we're going to talk about Mr. Copeland, told you on the stand here that him and Threat were responsible for that. YSL members responsible for shooting up the shop of a YSL gang member. Or shoot the father of a gang associate. Then, if you can recall, in all of the different interviews, majority of them, Mr. Copeland talked about this shooting at the Lakewood gambling house. He talked about it in mostly every interview when he kept on telling them about the history of him and Kelvin. And he talked about the fact that Kelvin had shot up the gambling house and shot up Doug's car. Then he talks about, in multiple interviews, a meeting at Cascade Skating Rink, in which him and Kel were there. Kel wanted Copeland to call Thug so they can maybe squash whatever issue that they had. And that when Thug, Mr. Williams, got on the phone, he asked Kelvin, "Are you going to pay for my car window?" Kelvin said no. They got into it, and it kept on going. You heard about the January 6th fight at Club Crucial, in which Copeland was jumped at the club. And then upon leaving the club, there was a fight with Bloody J, that some YSL members jumped on Bloody J, and that Kendrick and Arnold, they were arrested when they left the club. And that's going to be important, because when we talk about phone records, while we don't have some phone records from Mr. Kendrick. Then we had the January 8th shooting at TIG Studio, where Rich Homie Quan's purple truck was shot up. There was some alluding to the fact that Copeland did that shooting. I think Quindarius Zachary may have said in his interview that Copeland did that shooting. Then there was that blood meeting the night before the murder.
Hey, listen.
Now, I know that Mr. Sharp played for you the clip in which Copeland says that the blood meeting was about him, but remember, the blood meeting was also about Mr. Williams. And he said that in one of his interviews, that the blood meeting just wasn't about him, but it was about him, Copeland, and Mr. Williams.
Oh, sorry, y'all.
Then on January 10th, you have the death or the murder of Mr. Donovan Thomas at 330 McDaniel Street. Then you have the retaliatory shootings begin immediately. See, the streets knew what it took the state and the government a long time to figure out. They went directly to who they thought killed Donovan Thomas. They immediately started shooting at Jeffrey Williams' family's house and Kenneth Copeland's family's house because they thought that both of them were in on it. Also, in the late morning hours, early on January 11th, Kenneth Copeland meets with the Atlanta Police Department, and many of the YSL members, they flee to Miami.
He meets with the police department is a
You have more
wild
retaliatory
statement,
shootings.
by the way.
Then in April, between April and May of 2015, you had the incident at Dunbar Center where Copeland
meets with
is
the
found with
police
that gun. They don't arrest him then. He calls Gaither. Gaither speaks to him. They let him go. But once they did more investigation, they got the video surveillance from the Dunbar Center. They arrest him on June 10th. And then that's when he does the 9-hour interview that we'll discuss. In August of 2015 was Quindarius Zachary's interview. In September 2015, Shannon becomes the target of 2 shootings, one at the Green Store, the other one with Ms. Tierra Jones. In October 2015, arrest warrants are taken out for Garlington, Copeland, Sledge, and Stillwell. In November 2015, there was a preliminary hearing. The case was dismissed against Sledge. In 2016, the case was dismissed against Garlington and Copeland, and Stillwell received a bond. Between 2016 and 2018, there was an additional investigation and follow-up, and the indictment came in 2022. We're going to talk more about these dates, but I want to give everyone a general timeline overview. As Mr. Agus talked to you about earlier, you determine the credibility of the witnesses. And I can't remember if it was Mr. Shard or Mr. Weinstein who said it, but they are absolutely right. We don't choose our witnesses. The witnesses and our victims are chosen by the crimes that are committed. So when you do your gang murder and you brag to your gang member friends that you murdered someone, then the person I have to bring in here to tell you what happened is the gang member friend. And the gang member friend isn't going to want to tell you in front of them what they told the police. So that's why I had to fight. Ms. Love got to fight. We got to argue with them back and forth because now they have to come in here and confront the people that they snitched on in front of them. So, and they know that. They know that none of these witnesses want to come in here and say what they told police.
That's true.
And they're begging on you to say, I don't know. I mean, he did swore an oath in court and said that he told the God's honest truth. Let's come and tell him God's honest truth in this courtroom. Maybe some of the stuff he told was truthful. Here and there, like he said, he's doing a little bit of truth sometimes. That's what he said, right? He did that a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a moment. What's going to be important are prior statements. It is important because you as a juror get to determine the witness credibility, right? And this may be affected by you comparing and contrasting the testimony to statements or testimony of that same witness before trial started. You, the jury, can decide whether there's a reasonable explanation for any inconsistency in a witness's pre-trial statements or testimony when compared to that same trial testimony. And we'll actually apply common sense and reason to decide what testimony you believe or do not believe. So let's go through the evolution of Kenneth Rudy Copeland. Let's take some time, all right? January 11th. This is hours after the murder. His girlfriend's house just got shot up, and they call him. Thorpe calls the girlfriend to kind of check in on and see what's happening with their shooting, and they put Copeland on the phone. See, on January 11th, when he walks inside, he real strong YSL, right? He's not trying to give up his friends. He want to let the police know, I didn't murder. Let me tell you something. I didn't murder Donovan Thomas. I'm going to tell you I was at my girlfriend's house. I'm going to tell you I went to the Green Store. I went to McDonald's. He's not going to give you too much information because here, he's trying to still protect his friends. That's just common sense. The police don't really know what's going on yet. So when he first goes in, he's trying to protect his friends. But then we get January 28th. See, if y'all remember, y'all, this is after he gets out the shootout on the highway. See, this is after he came from the little pool party, and he on his way home, and they shoot at him at the highway. And remember, in this interview, he talks about, I believe, Shannon being upset with him because he didn't want to shoot back. So here, he's trying to tell them everything that YFN people are doing to him, but he's still not trying to give up his friends. Because they his friends. But he's a little frustrated
Were
because
they his
everyone's
friends,
blaming
though?
him for murdering Donovan Thomas, and everyone's shooting back at him, and he didn't do anything.
Well,
Then we get February 20th. Now this was the worst one because that's when he's trying to come out the house to take his baby to the hospital, and they come down the street shooting at him. So now he's like, they are shooting at me, they're shooting at my baby and my girl. Look, this too much. And he tells them about what happened. Again, this is the interview where he really didn't want to give up who shot at him. He knew who did it, but see that gang street code is he still didn't want to give up the person who shot at him and his baby. And that's when Kurt was like, you're not going to tell me who just shot at you and your baby? Then the next day was February 21st. They had arrested him for a violation of probation. He was upset because they arrested him on a violation of probation. And Gaither talks to him, one, about the shooting that had happened the day before, and trying to get more information about the murder, trying to figure out what is going on. What is going on with this back and forth? Because by this time, and ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to go through that whole litany, we're going to call it Operation Planner shooting, but you heard evidence of all those shootings that were happening back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they're trying to get a grasp of what is happening. And then we get to the 9-hour interview. So what happened between February and June? A lot. We got some back and forth shootings. Remember, Mr. Copeland went to jail for that violation of probation. He came out. He had went to Henry County for a little while. And then on June 10th, he gets arrested for the gun that he had at the Dunbar Center back in May. And what's going on here? Mr. Copeland is tired. He been getting shot at. His family been getting shot at. Homes getting shot up. Remember Kenneth Hurst or Kenny Booth's house? His sister-in-law, his sister's child's father's home has been broken, getting shot at. And Shannon and Mr. Williams not talking to him. Remember Shannon, and he thought Mr. Williams was trying to kill him. That's everything he talks about in this 9-hour interview. And let me say this. If some reason y'all want to watch all these interviews again, y'all can. Y'all just got to let them know. I don't know if you want to sit there watching that 9-hour interview again, but if you wanted to, you can. But in this interview, he is at the place where enough is enough for him. And I'm going to tell you about Mr. Copeland. I'm going to tell you about Quindarius Avery. They are self-preservationists. What do I mean by that? They're going to not talk about what they've done because they don't want to go to jail. But if telling on them is going to get me out of jail, I'm going to tell you what's happened.
well,
Because I don't want to go to jail. He's absolutely right. He did not want to go to jail. But he's not going to lie to the police about what they did. He's going to minimize what he's done. And that's what he did in this interview for 9 hours. He minimized his involvement in some things, but he told everything that they did.
no.
Stop the cap.
That's not what he
And
did
if you
at
don't
all.
believe what he told the police, well, let's listen to what he told his girlfriend on the jail call.
She messed up again. That's not what he did because he said multiple times Thug wasn't even involved in any of this. And based on the plea deal he got, I mean, it seems like that's true. I don't know what she's talking about. He said Thug wasn't even in any of this. And the state hasn't proven that Thug was involved. So, come on now, Miss Hylton.
What? Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true, Les.
You try to do it every week. Come on, eh?
And that's the thing. If you want to say that Woody was telling the truth about him, then prove it. They haven't done that.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna tell you again. I can tell you, I know you go into, you know, know that test.
Trey, no ever gonna.
So in that call to his girlfriend, to the love of his life at the time,
The love of his life
he
at the
told
time.
her, I need D to come in so they can so they can know what I told them is true. They had to verify what I said. So when he came and said, I would finesse the police, I would lie to them. No, because you wanted them to verify what you told them. And we're going to talk about how the police and Mike Sprinkle was able to verify what he told them. Let's listen to this June 16th, 2015 call.
The video was so man, I just kept trying to take myself. I think trying to pretend like we each other locked up, bro. And the whole time, it's just like he tried to pick you up, bro. But she got so mad, bro. She go right in, she didn't know that.
They didn't go out to what's on, man.
It's sorry, he supposed to already come back and he showed me this about something he knows to. Right there, we put the star and have both of things like easy. You know what I mean?
But he was saying the love of his life at the time. Yeah, that's crazy. How does that work?
So what is he saying there? Why you put my name in the song? He know who did it. Because they all know who did it. They knew that it was Yak, Dua, Shannon, and Nard. And Kendrick is, Cole is upset because he's like, why you put my name in the song? Put the ones who did it in the song. So they can stop targeting me. Now, let's talk about his trial testimony. You know, I actually do like rap music, contrary to popular belief. And there is an artist, Young G, and he has a song called Put On. And I'm telling you what him,
Why did
what
they have this
Copeland
block
and
here?
Zachary did
It's annoying.
while they testified here, was they put on for YSL. They came in here acting
East
all
side.
types of foolishness.
South
And that's
side.
because they wanted to show their gang member friends, look, I'm still part of the conspiracy. Y'all know I snitched on y'all back in 2015, but I'm gonna try to help y'all out as best as I can. And that's what they did this entire time. They friends. They've been friends for a long time. They wear the same clothes. They lay together. What makes you think that Demekion, when he got into that car at McDonald's and said, yo, let me tell y'all what they just did. Let me tell you what our homie, our boy for the last couple of years just did. They just killed Nut. Because the kid wasn't around. He was sleeping at his girlfriend's house. So he missed the action. So you don't think when Demekion get in the car, he's not going to say, yo, let me tell you what Sharon just did, Joe. They friends. And they want you to believe that Demekion did not tell Copeland what happened moments after it happened? That don't even make
Love of
sense.
my life.
And we gonna ask you your common sense.
I got you, Amy. That's funny.
This is them. And these weren't all taken in 2015 because some of these are older pictures. They look super young. This is how long they've been friends. Now, it was interesting when Mr. Shard asked, why we show you this video from 2009? Let me tell you why. Because Quindari's been around for a long time. Quindari's been around since 2009. So Quindarius knows about what's happening. See, we didn't just bring you stuff. I know some days you're like, why does the state bring me a video from 2009 in the park? It's to show the evolution of their relationships. Quindarius a little bit different than Copeland. Because see, he's been around Mr. Williams much longer than Copeland's ever been in the picture. See, Mr. Copeland started coming around in 2014. Mr. Zachary's loyalty is a little bit different. He's been around since 09. So when Zachary tells you in his interview, Doug ain't know nothing about that murder, yes he did. But his loyalty is a little different because he's been around. 2012, that's Mr. Zachary. You want to know why we showed you the video of them outside in the apartment complex? To show their association. Again, Zachary been around again for a long time. He real better than it. He rocked through YSL. So he has a motive to lie for Jeffrey Williams that Kenneth doesn't have as much of. In his interview. See, when Quindarius interviewed, he asked to come and speak to the police. And you're going to watch his interview because what both of them do in their interviews, both Copeland and Quindarius, and this is how you know they were telling the truth, they would correct the officers. If the officer repeated something that was wrong, they would say, no, I didn't say it like that. I said it like this. That's what they would do. That's how you know that what they were trying to tell them, they were trying to be as truthful as they could so that they would get it right. They, meaning the police, would get it right. And again, same thing. He come in here talking about he wanted to take one of the investigators out, all types of nonsense. But again, putting on for YSL. And again, he's been around. They friends. They friends. And why would they lie on their friends? If they knew to make up stuff and make up lies, why would you lie and say your friends committed a murder? That doesn't make sense. Why lie? You could just say anybody made up the murder. If you were just lying, you don't want anybody to verify what you were saying, you could have said anybody committed the murder. But that's not what they did. So there were a lot of different witnesses that came in about Donovan Thompson's murder. We're going to talk specifically about these individuals. Investigator Thorpe, he was the original detective on the case. He took out those arrest warrants in October, and that was after talking to an individual by the name of Spencer Wright. He then turned his file over to Mike Sprinkle. Then we have both Dennis and Gaither. They were both, just because of the back and forth that they were investigating, just ended up talking a lot about the murder with these different individuals. And then you have Kenneth Copeland and Quindarius Zachary. And then what did Mike Sprinkle tell you? When he got the file, he reviewed it, and the first thing he did was realize that Spencer Wright was lying and said, okay, I have to get rid of this information. And it was something that Mr. Shard said, which I found interesting. Mr. Shard said that Nicholas Robinson, aka Spencer Wright, is an example of individuals who would say anything just to get out of jail. But the difference between Nicholas Robinson and Quindarius and Kenneth Copeland is that Mr. Sprinkle couldn't verify what Nicholas Robinson said. But he was able to verify what Quindarius and what Kenneth Copeland said.
How?
So did Mike Sprinkle corroborate Kenneth Copeland and Quindarius Zachary? Emphatically, yes. So let's talk about the activity before the murder. And some of these are the videos, but there was no dispute about the Lakewood shooting in Club Crucial. And what you have in both of those interviews is that both Copeland and Zachary actually sat and talked about those shootings. I'm not going to play the video for you, just in an abundance of time, but we know that those two things at least were not disputed. So let's talk about the day of and the days after the murder. So what did Copeland tell you about that morning?
So when I woke up, they know that she had something to go to the mom. So I woke up, she said, yeah, that's how we do it. She like, oh, I don't know, she don't want have our head, we're going home here. I'm like, hey, you know, with no little shirt. So I don't know, this is near where we're at. Yeah, so this is crazy tonight. So, I did, I had home. Yes, I had birthday.
What did the phone records tell you? I know that's kind of small, but you'll have the phone records in the back. That between 6:37 and 7:26, Copeland's phone was in the area of his girlfriend's house, right? That's QR's, Copeland's girlfriend's residence, which was on Maury.
My barber abandoned me this week, man. I didn't get it.
And that's between 6:37 and 7:26. If you can recall, the 911 call for the murder came in at 7:22. At 7:26, he is still at his girlfriend's house after the murder. So this notion, when they say, well, Kenneth Copeland did it, I know somebody who could have done it, well, it wasn't Kenneth Copeland. The person who did it is Stillwell, Yet, Nard, and Dubai. Because Ken Cope was at his girlfriend's house at 726. Then he says he went to the green store.
We still can't hear it.
And then it's like, and like you hung it up. He got my head. We said, big young boy. I don't talk to one of you. So I talk to you like, no, clean, bro. I don't think you come to come. It's my choice. Alright? So I'm on one house. I go to the car. Give me the car. I get the car, pull up at the ratio. When I get to the ratio, now I feel like I can't go. I can't back in there. I can't go, you know. So I got caught. I got put up at the ratio. I ain't driving. So I talked to the Rick. Man, the Rick talking about coffee. He said, they don't see. So Rick said, I want you to go. You try to ride it. And I'm looking to get her. He's like, alright.
What does the phone record tell you? He went to the green store. He's at the green store at 728. Between 728, he's at the green store. And then he travels down towards the McDonald's, like he told him. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, about cooperation and phone records. He doesn't know we're going to pull the phone records later. He doesn't know that Mike Sprinkle in 2016, almost 8 months after this, that we're going to pull the phone records to see whether or not what he's saying is true. I know he came in here and said, I got 2 phones, I had 2 phones, and all this other stuff. He didn't have 2 phones. Or if he had 2 phones, the main phone was the phone that he's calling his girlfriend. You can look at the records. The records will show who he's talking to. He's talking to his brother and his girlfriend on the phone he's talking about. Cooperation, I'm not going to play it, but he says, because you just heard him say he goes out to the McDonald's.
I get caught. I ride cheap. I put it in McDonald's. I put it in McDonald's. Put it outside. People over here, the one that my usually tell you. So I put it in McDonald's. So he got it put it in. So he put it in. Who was he with? He was Benjamin. So he put it in. Benjamin, who he said, I know that. He said, he know that it was. It was D, Nard, and Ben, the whole thing I think still coming. I'm back. They the white key, it was D, Nard, Bentley, Doe, Shannon, and Yak. All of this one concept, what kind of problem? The Jeep, the actual, he got the white, boom, they got out. I mean, Nard, D got out. So when D got to call me, D got
Still can't hear these calls.
So we talked about that white nitro. Ladies and gentlemen, that is from the Dexter Montgomery shooting. What is that? That's the white nitro that Nard and DK came in from OG Bentley's house. So is it ironic that, oh my goodness, OG Bentley has a white Dodge nitro? That small fact is corroborated. He talks about getting the call from Antonio Sledge.
I got a call, Brian. Social face, I'm like,
Exactly.
I heard what, like, man, like, your name is screaming out if I know you discriminate, but I'm telling him, like, my dick ain't that close.
And what I'll say is, we'll just go back just very quickly. He told you that he FaceTimed with Antonio Sledge. We know that FaceTimes don't come up on phone records, but that entire night, him, Antonio Sledge, and Zachary are in communication. What you will see is none of those 3 people rarely talk to another group of individuals that we're going to talk about next. So again, things are corroborated that Copeland is saying. Here he's going to talk about that everybody went to Jeffrey Williams' condo.
So the one got a car, he stopped talking. So we were going to spill it. Where are they following y'all? Nah, they told us about it. Okay, y'all follow this. Yeah, but when he told me, I ain't gonna follow it. But I said, you got covered. I'm trying to keep these guys to the head of my own. So we found that store. They stay downtown on Chicago. That's it. I found them there. So I found that. She's doing it. So now I got covered. He's like, what did you kill them? I'm like, who? Like, you did point me. Now he had to point to an arm. Yeah. So I'm like, what happened? He's like, what? So first thing I say was, hell no.
So here you'll have these phone records in the back. This shows phone activity near Mr. Williams' condo between that time of 7:31 and 11:22. Again, he talks about the condo. And remember in this call, in this
We can't even hear.
interview, he first talked to Gaither and an ATF agent. Then later,
What he's saying.
Thorpe
I know
came in.
what
He
he's
kind
saying.
of repeats what happened, right? And that's what is going on. But again,
Wow.
consistently talking about being around the condo. They both talk about going to Miami after the murder.
This is the same guy. That you got kids, not you like all the time. Doug called man, like the people that drive around, he called them. And the person driving around is a person, like person man. So he had him drive him straight to Florida, to murder man. Like him, Doug, his sister, the girl,
He said that girl.
and Lord, and yeah, I had to get out there. All them drove straight to Florida. So they went to Florida. Now, if you call right there, like, honey, now I mean, you like, well, what you cut out? I'm like, yeah, because I ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? And they about thinking like, I held the phone, walk up. And when I walked out, I heard that you like, I caught. So you went back and talked. Yeah, I caught her. Those were going out of town. Well, they left going out of town. Where do you go? Okay. That night, she was before we went to bed that morning. Well, we leave here before I went down to work. Me, Shannon, B, Woody, yeah. No, that.
So that's them both talking about them going down to Miami. Now, in court, that's probably one of the things that they talked about, that they all went to Miami. But they all said they went for this concert in Miami. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we showed you all the flyers, and there's no flyer in Miami for January 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. The only flyer in Miami, or in Florida, was in Tampa Bay. So the question becomes, why are y'all going to Florida right after Donovan Thomas was murdered? To flee.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Because YSL knew what they did. And they had to get up out of Dodge. And they went down to Birdman's house to lay low until things, maybe some of the dust starts to settle. And we had the phone records to show you all that they all went to Miami, all the different phone records in Miami after the murder, and the times that they all went after the murder. Now, we talked about the Grand Infinity. They both discussed, well, Copeland said there was Thug that rented the Grand Infinity. Zachary, I told you his loyalty is a little bit different. He didn't want to say Thug rented the Grand Infinity. He talked about it was a meaning. But we both know that this Grand Infinity was rented. And I won't play the video for you, but there are the two clips. If you want to play it later, you can play it. And how was that corroborated?
She said, I won't play the video. She plays the video. What are we doing here, lady?
Mr. Sprinkle found the Hearst rental car records in order to corroborate is what Mr. Copeland said accurate? Was there a rented gray vehicle? Almost a year later, he finds the rental car. That is corroboration of what Kenneth Copeland said. He literally took everything that Kenneth Copeland said and said, can I corroborate this? And that's what he did.
Corroborate?
Now let's talk about who they both
Making
said.
up new words now.
Remember, Copeland is in June, Zachary is in August.
How do you corroborate that?
Who was in the car? That's supposed to be the driver. I don't think. This was a legit boat story. He said, I think he said, he was child. And he said, they rolled past the same place, stand outside. They went somewhere and changed up. Nah, they really was. I dropped Sandy out the door. I went home, I didn't know. And then Doug lived and was wrong with nothing, seen him. And went to the gas station and seen Jay.
Thank you, Joshua. Same to you.
And the gas station, we heard from the gas station. I just did the story, so. They just seen him, they switched cars, the gas station. Doug got in the car with the girl. Doug got taken to the They got the car with the girl. And there was 4 of them in the car. Jack, Shannon, Noah, and Dubois.
All right, that's Copeland in June. Here's Zachary in August.
This is all what Shannon is telling me. No, it's both. Shannon had told what Dick Shannon told, what Shannon told first. So Shannon, they both told me the same story. Where were you guys when Shannon was telling you this, and what day was it? Same day or day after? Same night. Shannon, I walked through. I just walked in, so they pulled up their little house. And Shannon in the little bird out. And all the boys were going out to the And then now she want to tell me the story. Say it was going to be bullshit, but they woke up and seen blood. Say they had rolled back around. And then so she know. She was acting on the wall. So
He said it was Yak, Nard, and Doo-Wop. This is two different interviews. Copeland is telling them what Demekion told him, and Zachary is telling the police what they, what Stillwell and Yak told him. But how are we have the same people? Yak, Nard, Doo-Wop, Stillwell. That does not change. That's corroboration of each other. Two different
Corroboration.
areas. Two different times.
How you say
Saying the
that?
same people? Ladies and gentlemen, that's evidence. That ain't no coincidence. And remember what Copeland said, which I found interesting. When they asked, do you remember what gas station? He's like, I don't know what gas station. How would he know that Yak was at the gas station and that they circled the block and pulled up and saw Donovan outside? If they didn't tell him that. He didn't even know what gas station they were at. But what did Mike Sprinkle do? He said, well, let me go pull the gas station footage and see if I can corroborate what he's saying. And that's exactly what he did. He pulled up the January 10th Texaco gas station and see when the car pulled into the gas station. The Bonneville. And in that same interview, they asked him, well, what kind of car was Yak in initially? He tells them it was a Bonneville. How would he know? He doesn't know that we're going to find a surveillance video. But they want you to believe Kenneth is lying? For what? You have Yak going inside the gas station. That's him in the gas station. They sit at Texaco from 6:44 to 7:15.
What's up, Nita?
They wait for the girlfriend to come.
Corroboration.
And when the girlfriend comes, that's about the same time that the Infinity pulls up. What you waiting for 30 minutes at the gas station for? Who waits at the gas station that long? You had to meet Bushi at that gas station?
Who waits at the gas station?
What did Reginald Hendricks tell you? YSL folks don't hang around out there. They get their gas, they get on. If they even get gas over there. Because that's not their territory. Their territory is Cleveland Avenue. So why are you sitting there for, I don't do math well, but what's it, almost 40 minutes? But they want you to believe he's just lying. For what? Then that's when the Infinity pulls up. And on the video, Yak walks over to the car. Now, I know Mr. Shar said, well, my client ain't on the video. Well, we just can't see him on the video. I submit he in the car.
I submit. We can't see him on video. I submit he's in the car. What the?
Right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
Hey guys, listen. I know you can't see him, but he's in there. That's what we're doing, State. Come on now. We're better than that, Miss Hylton.
Then they both leave at the same time, and they both turn right on Northside Drive. Now this is the video. We'll speed it up. And matter of fact, from the still shots, you can see kind of the movement. And I wish I can't pause it because it's running. You see where they came, y'all? They came down McDaniel. Well, what's right about here? It's the barber shop. I know Mr. Wines, trying to say it's a block away. It ain't a block away. Literally, when you go out here, you look up the street, you see the barber shop. It's not a block away. It's yards away. So they had a vantage point to see them when he's driving down McDaniel Street. He's the one that alerts them.
Yo, she didn't even say I believe. She said, I submit that he was in the car. That's some... What? Oh my God. I'm sorry, y'all. But this is just a wild statement.
Now this is the video. We'll speed it up. And matter of fact, from the still shots.
Hold on, I gotta hear that again.
At the same time, then they both leave.
I cannot believe she said that. She has ESP and can see through things. She was there. She's a psychic. She talked to the ghost of Shamel Drinks. Said, hey.
Now I know Mr. Shar said, well, my client ain't on the video. Well, we just can't see him on the video. I submit he in the car.
I submit he in the car. Ugh. Ugh.
These niggas lacking.
That's a big deal, Miss Hylton. Not only can you not prove that he wasn't the one who shot Shamil Drakes, but you submit that he was in the car. Come on now.
Oh, Shar said, well, my client ain't on the video. Well, we can't see him on the video. I submit he in the car. Then they both leave at the same time, and they both turn right on Northside Drive.
That's crazy.
Now this is the video. We'll speed it up. And matter of fact, from the still shots,
I
you
submit
can see
he's in the car.
kind of the movement. And I wish I can't pause it because it's running. You see where they came, y'all? They came down McDaniel. Well, what's right about here? It's the barbershop. I know Mr. Wines, trying to say it's a block away. It ain't a block away. Literally, when you go out here, you look up the street to see the barbershop. It's not a block away. It's yards away. So they had a vantage point to see them when he's driving down McDaniel Street. He's the one that alerts them. Kendrick. If Kendrick didn't tell them that he saw Donovan, maybe we wouldn't be here today on a murder charge. He did that. He's the one who alerted them. That's why he's just as guilty as the ones who shot. This is then when we sped through the video. So now it's about 9:05. That's Doo-Wop getting out. I submit to you, that's Doo-Wop getting out the car, smoking a cigarette. I submit probably trying to look to see if he's still out, if Donovan's still outside, so they can see how much time they had before Donovan go inside go get his hair cut.
Boy, she knows all of this. She's just laying it out. Yeah, see, they're sitting there. They're waiting for him.
And they just waiting.
I
That's
submit
when
he was in the car.
Billy
It's
Bushi
crazy.
pulls up in that car. And that's Kendrick. Initially, he was in the passenger side. And then that's the driver, that's I submit to you all, that's Bradford. He gets out the car. Then you see Mr. Kendrick kind of waves to the infinity. Then he walks over to the infinity. I submit that's when they're gonna talk about what they're gonna do, how they about to kill Donovan, what they're gonna roll around, do what cars, what guns in the car, how they gonna do it, who gonna do what.
How they gonna do what? Is that a legal term? They were over there talking how they gonna do what. Yo, come on now.
And we talk about where did they switch cars. I submit to you, behind the gas station. They both made it right in the moment.
I submit, I believe. I think. But do they know?
Right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
They just happened to go somewhere where there were no cameras and switch cars.
I'm going to show you what's right behind the gas station where they could have easily switched cars.
They could have. They may have.
And then, and remember, we talked about the time, so it's not 8:08. Remember, this time is off by a few moments. And that's them coming down the street in the infinity, shooting. Of course, you're going to see it. I'm going to play this all this, the reaction, what happens in the store. You got babies running. Bullets have no names. And they have the audacity to tell you that we're sitting here trying to charge people of color? No. You should not have to be sitting here on a Saturday trying to get your hair cut and have bullets come inside of a barbershop. Bullets have no names. And there was babies in the front. But you just spraying down the street for what? For your status in YSL? So you can show Mr. Williams that you big and bad? That's what this is about.
So you can show Mr. Williams you big and bad?
Outside.
What?
I submit he saw what happened, but you know what? He ain't gonna tell us. He ain't gonna talk to the police, because that's what the gang culture is. Texaco. That's Northside Drive. And here are two streets. This one is a one-way street, but they don't follow the law, so I submit that they went up the one-way street. And it's another street. They could have went up either. I submit to you they went up the one-way street because, again, they don't follow the law. So when they turn to right, they switch cars behind here. They switch behind here. It takes no time to drive up the wrong way street, drive back down, and come back down into their shit.
Objection, facts not in evidence.
That's where they switch the cars at. They both. I guess we didn't ever show you that.
Y'all know how dumb this sounds? It's like, so they were at the gas station in front of the camera, but then they went away from the camera and switched the cars. Come on, lady. If you don't get out of here. See, they thought this through. They went to the gas station. They knew all the cameras were there and they were just waiting, talking. And then they were smart enough. They said, hey, y'all, you know what? These cameras might see us. Let's drive behind the gas station and switch cars.
And this is where he talks about
Makes
it. I'm not
sense.
going to play for you, but that's what he said. And let me tell you something. This is how you know they switch cars. We told you he came in the Infinity with Javorth Bradford, right? This is Javorth Bradford phone records. After the murder, this is him.
Shout out to
between
Mr. Pear.
636 and 719. You see the crime scene. He's stationary around the crime scene, right? There's a gap in time between 719 and 724. At 724, between 808, this is where Bradford's phone is, right? From 731 all the way to 808. What's over here? Oak Drive. OG Bentley House. Where they said they got rid of the guns. Let me tell you what he's doing. He waiting for them to come back. And you want to know how we know that Yak isn't in the car with him anymore?
Let me tell you what he's
This
doing.
call,
He's
right?
waiting for them to come back.
Using security. You may start the conversation now.
So, what is that? How sitting there like that? Nah, he what is that they got there? Security. Nah, Y'all good? Yeah.
Hey, Goldie, Ma.
Who that is? Boost. What's up, shortstop?
What are you doing?
What's going on? Yeah. Where you at? What up?
You hear what he said? Where Yak Gotti at? We waiting for him to pull up. That's at 742. That's
So?
when, let's go back, y'all.
Not a crime.
That's when he waiting down here. At 742, which is one of the calls that's right here, Yak ain't with him. You want to know why? Because Yak with the other 3 murderers. That's where Yak at. What evidence do we have? No, we don't have DNA. You want to know why? They got rid of the car. No, we don't have DNA. You want to know why? Because they got rid of the guns. All we have is what they told their co-conspirators. And that's what I have to bring to you. What I have are the phone records. What I have are the surveillance videos.
He sounds so
To corroborate
unprofessional.
what the co-conspirator said. Because I don't have those things. I wish I had them, but they got rid of it. That's Jack the
submit to
night
you.
of. What'd he say? Maniac's back. That's what he said, right? Y'all know me in my Santana voice. You right. The maniac's back. He just drove the car that took somebody's life
No, he didn't.
for no reason. For no reason. That's just to show you, that's Javorth Bradford in that Pontiac. That's on that surveillance video. This is when they talk about the guns used to commit the murder.
Go back to none. Make sure everything's right. The media pretty much told you him, Shannon, Nard, Bentley.
We're talking about Lil Woody again? Lil Woody?
The media, so, being up and a girl who the one went to Bentley house. You did? And when they got them doing it, they spoke to the one in the house. But I think the girl in the bush. You know, the girl is supposed to be skinning it. She knows what's going on. And then the girl Shannon started teaching me. You know, they changed how they do about the cup. This girl
We got the snitch up here again.
So it was Yak driving, Shannon with the AK, Nard with pistol, and Dewop with pistol. Not, I'll take what had pistol. Okay. Right. But you just
Was Woody there?
How they got received the car, all you know the Yak drive. You got to know that, they said Yak really drive.
Why are we talking to Woody?
Yeah, little deep. Okay.
We gonna lie. Why not say Dewop had a gun? Let's lie. We gonna lie big. Everybody had a gun. But he didn't do that. He said, nah, I don't think Dewop had a gun. I don't think so, but I definitely know Yak was driving, because if we gonna lie, say Yak had a gun too. But he didn't do that.
They put you back there, what's wrong? They had AK, 72, right? He said, you said you gonna say what kind of gun they had for the murder, right? So the AK-72, who's on that? What else? That a 4.5. Who's on the 4.5? You remember what brand was? HP or something. XP? Yeah.
What are the shell casings? How he know it was a 7.62? That's what Donovan was killed with. Those are the bullets that came out of Mr. Thomas.
Because it's a popular gun?
The shell casings that was found, there was multiple types of shell casings. 45s, 9s, and 7.62s. How they know that? This is called corroboration. This is called verification. They don't know they don't know what bullet was pulled out of Donovan Thomas's body at the autopsy. They don't know what shell casing the police picked up off the ground.
Question. Maybe did he know that because he was the one who was the shooter? Just saying. Thank you, Amy.
But ironically, they know, it's not ironic. They know the type of gun that they use.
They all pull up on police, and the deal right now, they got somebody to talk about. So they got guns. They had 2 guns. Now chopping the handgun. They got guns and put it in the cup. And they just didn't roll off in the cup. So when did they pull up, you didn't think it was him? Yeah, he was driving a white truck. He went to the shadows. I was there. You know, they called it the after shoot. Yeah, they look where they were on police out. The bench spot was on police. Right. So I can't do what Thor was for the bench spot.
Corroboration.
They put it on Thor, and we got bench spot, white cut down. And then he said, I don't know if it was bench. It had to be somebody, if it wasn't bench, it was somebody, I mean, he got a cup, he drove never with the cup. You know what I'm saying? And he cleaned up the kind of guns. Do you know what kind of car it was? Like, it was a Genesis, thing. Yeah. A new one. You know, was it somebody's registered car or was it a rental car?
Well, that used to bring the car from.
Yeah.
And when he finished, he's at the airport.
I don't, let me finish that story. They come to, now they took guns in the car, OG Benson. You know, Benson, capture. They gave him guns in the car. What did he do with it? He hid the gun and they go on to run the car back. Do you know where he hid the guns at? I don't know where he hid the guns. I know they took the spot, please.
Come on,
you know where it is? His spot? Yeah, I don't know that address. It's on Oakland. Yeah.
Y'all saw the address I showed y'all, right? It's on Oak Drive. That's Bentley spot. And isn't it ironic that that's where the guns was kept in April when Dexter Montgomery, when they went and shot up Dexter Montgomery, they got all the guns from Bentley spot. Bentley keep the guns. That's what happened here. When we talk about interrelatedness, this is the interrelatedness that we are talking about.
This the
The same location, you drop one gun off, you pick one gun up.
Corroboration.
That's what happened. That's what Walter Murphy, I'm not gonna play the clip, but that's what Walter Murphy told you back when he was interviewed in July about OG Bentley spot. You think that that's ironic that both Copeland and Zachary talk about the guns going? Oh, and the phone records corroborate that all the phones was at Bentley house right after the murder? All of those things are corroboration. That's evidence.
Corroboration. Oh no, did her mic cut out? Dang. Let me see if I can skip ahead. Oh no, what happened to the audio here? Trying to make sure it's not me. Her mic must have went out. Corroboration. Oh, dang, Long cry for real. They did y'all dirty. Oh my gosh. We didn't need to hear that anyway. Hold on. She broke the sound system. She was yelling so much. Sarah said she verbally assaulted everyone. Yo, we need to get Sarah some therapy, man. She's hurting over here. It's gonna be okay, Sarah. We got you. Not corroboration.
And I know this is kind of faint, but I'm gonna tell you what he says in this call. Let me give you a little background about this call. This is November 19, 2015. This is after his preliminary hearing. Y'all heard about the preliminary hearing, right? And you heard them talk about the fact that a couple things, that they didn't talk about witnesses by name. They said it about witness number 1 and witness number 2. This is what he says. Fuck D. Oh. Fuck them niggas, bruh. Oh. All that fake friend shit. Fuck nigga. He know what's going on. Pussy ass nigga. That's what he said. Fuck niggas are rats. He ain't say he lied on me. He said he a rat. I just went to court and they let everything out. That fuck nigga a rat. Him, Woody, and the other little D. Bitch, you in love with a rat hoe. That's anger. Why? Because you just heard that your friends, because you didn't really know it was them, but it said witness 1 and witness 2, you were able to infer that your friends told the police about what you did the night of Donovan Thomas's murder. These are his words.
Well, dang.
He didn't say, yo, them dudes, I went to my prelim, they lied on me. He didn't say, oh man, they I don't know where they got this information from. He said they a rat. Because what do rats do? They tell. And he was angry that his voice would tell what he did. Let's talk about their songs.
This song keeps getting me in trouble. I'm gonna mute it for a second. Because they keep flagging this song and it's annoying. Just that one clip. Garbage song. We don't care about that song anyway. Still.
Important about the timing of this. Ladies and gentlemen, we told you that between 2016 and 2019, there was no court involvement. From 2019 to 22, there was no indictment, nothing happening in the case. So in 2019, which is 4 years after the murder, he knows that Sledge has been dismissed, Copeland has been dismissed, and Garlington has been dismissed. His case is the only one that ain't been dismissed. In 4 years, you haven't heard about an indictment. You think you beat a murder rat. This isn't, oh, he was on this and that. He thought he beat a murder rat because you're not indicted until almost 7 years later. So you think you got away with it.
What?
I keep a stick, ain't avoiding no smoke. A chopper.
Stop the lyrics. Stop with the lyrics.
I just beat a murder rat. Pay my lawyer $30 for that. Me and my slimes above the law. I know it's mumbling, but he said we don't work in court at all. And
he didn't pay a lawyer though. We talked about this. This is dumb. He never paid a lawyer.
I wipe your nose, send your family's face, and just smile it off. Some of these things he repeats in multiple songs.
He never paid a lawyer.
What's this?
Let's go.
Can't play it. They gonna get me. They gonna get me, y'all.
But remember, we said that they may have been created maybe 2020, sometime between 2020 and 2022, right? At this point, they real brazen because they don't think they're going to get held accountable for the murder. So they start saying stuff in their songs like, I just beat a homicide. Ha, 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 walk it off. I just left that boy on the curb. Well, where was Donovan Thomas found, y'all? On the curb. I'm a big lizard, big slime, big shots, riding down your block, hanging out the top. Oh, shoot. Didn't Reginald Hendricks say that somebody was shooting out of the top of the infinity?
But they weren't.
See, now you start bragging on it because you think you beat it. So now you, like our experts told you, they start bragging about it. What we call is dry snitching. You telling on yourself. Because you don't think that the police are going to find your phone. That's why you threw it. But luckily for Viverito, she listened to some jail calls and found that phone. Because you didn't think we were going to find it. This is called confession. This ain't rap. This is a confession. Over a beat.
Yeah, I agree. She's getting hyped up now.
Never threw my name attack the big shit. The way that's big shit. They thought that I really go. You got a red light. I don't go.
I don't give a fuck about a red light. I'm on go. I'm on green. I see an op. I'm taking him down. Walk him down from a mile. The last homicide, I smiled. How many times you gonna keep talking about the fact that you killed this man?
Nah.
And you bragging about it?
No.
This now song number 3. And then I can send the whole gang to the heavenly house? You good with killing folk. That's why you didn't kill Donovan, you didn't kill Shamel.
Oh my God, this is bad.
I ain't even gonna play the song, let's just talk about the words. Dodging all your shots and I'm watching my ops. Let that bitch rain out the top of the drop. Here we go again.
Hey, y'all hear Miss Hylton putting the sauce on it? Dodging all the shots and I'm watching my ops. She can't even help it. Y'all know she listens to She can't help it. She hears the beat playing in her head. Let that bitch rain out the top of the drop. She can't even help it. Yo, shout out to Miss Hylton. She got that bounce on it. I see you, Miss
Let that
Hylton.
glizzy rock. Oh, glizzy. Ain't that a Glock?
She can't help it.
One Shamel killed with a Glock?
Dodging all his shots and I'm watching my
One there
ops.
Glock on that table? Well, what investigator Viverito said it looked like a Glock. And I found it interesting because we're gonna get the Shamel soon. We about to get the Shamel.
She's back there like, they're kind of hard though. It's going kind of hard.
He said that Shannon wasn't linked to the 40. But he linked to having guns thrown away.
Busted, Miss
That's what he did in
Hylton.
2015. He's linked to the gun that was probably in the house an hour before he killed Shamel, sitting on the table in front of him.
Watching my ops. She over there.
We ain't gonna play this one either, but let's talk about what he's saying this. I see ops fall. Shell, know my call. That's Shell Kell, y'all. Every slime play nasty. That's what he says in the song. They wonder how we lasted. Bout my gang, it will never end. Again, beat the hum. What do you think, y'all? No evidence.
None.
He don't realize that what his two co-conspirators said is evidence. Those interviews are evidence. His confession over a beat is evidence. This is evidence, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's not.
And this is evidence you can take to the back, deliberate, and find him guilty. The surveillance video is evidence. No, we don't have his phone records, but you got his two friends telling y'all what he did. And they don't got no reason to lie on him. For what? What he say? That's why we popped off your big homie, bitch.
We who?
Donovan Thomas was the big homie.
We who's the
There was
we,
no
though?
need for that ad lib at the end of the song. But again, in 2020, they brazen. They have the audacity to think that they can just brag about killing somebody and no one's going to hold them accountable.
I'm sorry, Tamara. I can't
That's what they're
help
doing in 2020.
And I'm watching my ops. She couldn't help it.
Right, and so what we have is that there is no evidence, none.
100 rounds in a Tahoe? Everyone knew that Donovan drove a Tahoe. And how ironic is it that he got rounds of bullets in his Tahoe and on the street?
Facts, Andrea.
So they want you to believe, oh, that's a creative line Mr. Williams did. No, it's not. It's him bragging. It's him bragging. It's him wanting to claim responsibility for it. And we talked about, judging, like when I say subliminal messaging. But the subliminal is you, as the consumer, don't know what he's talking about. But his family, who know that Donovan drive a Tahoe, know exactly what he's talking about. Everyone in the gang knows exactly what they're talking about because that's who he's talking to. But because the masses bop to the song, they say, well, no, that's just his artistry. No, that's just his confession and his bragging over a beat.
Including Miss Hylton. Y'all know Miss Hylton is over there bopping. Can't do it. They're going to get me.
Says we know how to kill the biggest kitten of all kitties. What do you got crawling up on him? A snake. They sign. That is a subliminal message to everyone else. Yeah, we did that. What's at the end? He got a rat going down his mouth because they eat rats. They eat the people who snitch on them. He already told you himself, you ought to get killed from me and YSL if you snitch. See, that video is not just, oh, a nice artistic video. That has symbolism in it.
Can't prove it.
So now they're guilty of all those. That's what we're talking about. Shamel.
Can't prove it, though.
Young man, probably started associating with people from YFN. But on the day that he was about to get killed, he was about to go back to his girlfriend's house and go eat some spaghetti. That's what he's doing at the light. Get ready to go back. You see him go inside the gas station.
Rest in peace, man.
He's not worried about a thing. He doesn't know that seconds later he's going to lose his life. So the timeline here, this is, and I'll tell you here, this is a direct result of retaliation from the stabbing of Lucci. So what do we have? February 9th, Rayshawn Bennett gets stabbed in the Fulton County Jail by Jada Myrick. February 22nd, Eppinger calls Antonio Sumlin to see if he could get paid for finishing what Myrick didn't do. Then you heard about that emergency bond paperwork that was filled out on March 3rd. Then sometime around early March, the media hears about the YFN Lucci stabbing. It gets picked up on media. On March 11th at 3 a.m., two YSL associates, Christian McMillan and Darius Ford, are murdered on I-75 and I-85. That same night, there's a shooting at 12 Atlanta where a YFN associate gets shot in the head.
At the top missing.
On March 12th, there's a shootout on Cleveland Avenue with Demekion Garlington and the ops. On March 12th, there's a 911 call shooting at 2830 Waters Road. March 14th, Shayna Stillwell rents the Audi A5 and puts dark tints on all the windows. March 14th, 10 o'clock is the murder of Shamel Drinks. On March 16th, there's a shooting at Waters Road where investigator Reba comes out. March 17th, there's a search of Waters Road where everything is taken out except for a few guns that they left behind. And then Stillwell and Nichols are arrested. Again, we talk about the state does not have to prove motive, but here, ladies and gentlemen, this is motive. Again, that's that same video with Quindarius, y'all. Christian McMillan's been around since 2009. This is Mr. Williams' long friend, old friend, good friend. And he gets murdered by YFN associates. Oh, you got to pay for that. Here we have just different pictures of them. Both Mr. Ford and Mr. McMillan, all with other YSL associates. You'll have these in evidence, ladies and gentlemen. That's unfortunately the car that they were driving in when they were tragically gunned down on March 11th.
It's tough.
So here's where the motive comes in, y'all. Just like YSL brags about doing stuff, YFN does the same thing. It's tragic. These posts were despicable. That post crossing out that young girl's daddy and saying that, despicable. But that's the type of stuff that gangs do, right? To keep nudging each other. Well, that would make you mad. You see how heartbroken YSL was for the death of Mr. McMillan and Mr. Ford. They were devastated. These are all different YSL members posting them because they were devastated. And that's where revenge kicks in. That is Mr. Stillwell's post. I ain't gonna be the only one crying. Nope, you're right. The Drinks family crying. Because he had to make sure. And then what does he say here? Just ref Mac, I got you, man. Crying emoji, broken heart, taped up heart, devil emoji. He was ready to go op hunting. I know that was in January, but that just goes to show you he already knew how to be on the prowl. Mm-hmm. He already knew how to go out hunting. And this is what Demekion say on the wiretap on about March 11th to March 12th. March 12th.
I ain't talking about the AFB.
Oh, AFB.
Yeah, you know he don't know.
Yeah.
You know what he on. He on looking for them folks who killed our boys. That's what he on.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
Looks like some in the big head, and just said we wait and look for them. Okay. I said, nobody.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't need that.
Even wrong. Shit.
Yeah, grieving is a crime, apparently.
Sometimes you'll come get you up. Shit, that was on.
Yeah.
Next time, being here on Rock, I said, man, Rock, don't get no coat.
Yeah.
I tried that shit yesterday, but you know,
yeah.
Same shit. We on the prowl. We looking. We went because we need to go find them folks who killed our boys. So we out hunting. Let's go rent this car. Now, you know, this notion that they rented the car because Taisha got into the gunfight. Well, she got into the gunfight on March 9th. So she got into the gunfight on March 9th. Why y'all just renting the car on March 9th? They rent the car on March 14th. Oh, here we go.
They had to figure it out.
And what do? Immediately go to the tent place to go get the rental car tinted. Well, why do you do that when you're op hunting? Because the ops don't know what kind of car you in. So you can disguise yourself in this Audi because they don't know you in it. So they're not suspecting you. That's not the car that they're used to. So when you go op hunting, you got to switch the car out because they're not expecting to find you in the car.
What? Yeah, but where's the corroboration? The corroboration? I don't think she even says the R. Because Miss Alexander said she went and got the car because she got her car wrapped because she was worried about people getting at her. And maybe they rented the car and got the windows tinted because she had to move locations. We didn't forget.
And then you get tints, but not just regular tints, y'all. Like dark black tints. Like you can't see nothing.
Where's the corroboration? I can't even say it wrong.
Some may say those are not the tints you're ever allowed to have on your car. Why? Because you out hunting.
Nah.
What do we know about Shell Kell and Demekion Grimes on social media? What does investigative Rito tell you? That because she was following both pages, she could see who followed who, and Demekion followed Kelvin Watts. So what post do we see?
Exactly, Shadow Fox.
This post was posted, I believe, on March 13th. And it's a picture of Mr. Drinks, Jasper Walters, and Kelvin Watts. And Shell Kell reposted it with the two shells, the zipper lip, and a black heart. And I guess for Mr. Stillwell and Mr. Garner, that must be a confession. Because this is the post that got Mr. Drinks killed. What? Because remember, no one knew who Mr. Drinks was. The investigators didn't know. When you listen to some of the wiretaps y'all listen to, they didn't know. So this post is the post that gets him killed. Not any verification, not that you should have been killing anybody anyway, but no verification whether or not they actually did or anything. But because Shell Kell posted two shells, a zip lip, and a black heart, that was Mr. Drinks' death sentence.
What?
Op hunted. The reason why we took this picture, y'all, is if you remember from the video, and we're going to look at the video in a moment, Shannon was parked about right here in the alley. And we know that because you see him when he comes in. If you watch the videos, you see when he comes in.
Right.
Remember that Mr. Drinks pulled up to this pump. No, this pump. They had the best vantage point to see when Mr. Drinks came in, when he walked into the store, when he walked back out the store, and when he pulled off.
This is crazy. You don't think he recognized? All right.
They were scoping it out.
We'll leave it. I'm gonna let it go.
Verifying. I submit they in the car. Like, is that him?
I submit.
Oh no, I think he do got the same sneakers on. I think that's him, y'all. Scoping it out. Sit back. watching it. Let's watch the video.
No, no.
Now this is where Mr. Stillwater get to the gas station.
Oh, we're definitely not going to talk about the fourth car. We're calling it the third car, but
now you see when Mr. Cormavius Nichols gets to the gas station. That's when Miles gets out the car.
yeah, we know what happened. We still don't. There's still no evidence that shows Shannon shot Shamil Drinks.
Right, and so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
That's when Shannon walks to the car first, and we know it's Shannon because of the March 16th and wearing the same clothing. Of course, that's Cormavius Nichols when he walks inside the store.
Yeah, we've seen all this. We know. There's no evidence.
And then that's when Miles walks into the store. In his Slama dye shirt.
I hope they play the entire FedEx video too, but I bet she won't.
Miles and Carmavis leave out the store, and Miles in a moment gets back into the car, and Carmavis is pumping the gas. Carmavis goes back into the store. And this Mr. Drinks pulling into the gas station. Now this is how ironic that Carmavis and Drinks never, you're going to see, they never see each other. Because Carmavis gets into the car and Mr. Drinks sits in the car for a little while. Now, it would appear that all their business is done at the gas station. But they don't leave. It is 21:56.
Yeah, we know all this. Is she gonna show the FedEx video?
From here, y'all. Oh,
yeah, he walked
to the
in. We got it. We got it, Miss Hylton. Then what happened? She's replaying this whole video. Jeez.
Him on her is when now why sitting there soon as I hunting car. And two,
yeah.
And they want to tell you that some other car.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
This is them pulling up to the light.
Let's see how long she lets this.
You see there's somebody walking on the street, walking this way towards the gas station. Here go the three cars pulling up at the light.
This is bad that she played this video, because all this does for me as a drawer is like, yeah, y'all, we letting this one go. Sorry. There's no way. There's no way.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can't see it here, but we know that there's a red light. Shannon and Nichols are stopped at the red light. They stop.
Which isn't illegal.
Drinks is in the left turning lane.
They stopped at a
Shannon
red light,
is right
guys.
next to him, and Carmavis is right next to Shannon. Y'all now see the traffic going in the opposite direction that they are in. Then you see Nichols pull up. I'm just going to submit that this car stops here. This car, I think, saw what happened. Because he stops a little behind it, like, whoa.
I submit.
You had the person walking down the street. Mr. Sharp, and we're going to talk about this car in a moment. Mr. Sharp talked about what the medical examiner said. What she said was there will be no conscious movement. She didn't say anything about unconscious movement.
Stop the cap.
She's trying to discredit her own expert witness. Oh my gosh. She said it would be impossible for him to move, is what she said. It would be impossible for him to put his foot on the brake, release his foot off the brake, and then put his foot on the brake again. We heard it. This is, I can't believe she played this video. What was she thinking?
Because that is what you see with the brake lights, y'all. No, he could not consciously say, let me go. But the unconscious movement, because he doesn't shot in his head, is what is happening. What? They, y'all gotta think about this, because this is what they didn't want to show you. Shannon went from 18 miles per hour to 90 miles per hour. Mr. Shaw didn't want to talk to you about that. He want to tell you about a car that turned around because he heard the gunshot, but the man or woman walking down the street didn't hear any gunshot. That person walking, just chilling. You think if the people in the car heard the gunshot and turned around, don't you think that the person walking down the street would be like, hold up, let me back up? It's a gunshot down there.
This love is laughing.
No. Could it be that maybe the car that turned around saw the liquor store and said, shoot, let me go get me a drink, it's Saturday? No. Could it be they left something at the gas station?
Stop the cap.
He wants you to believe that the only reason why they turned around is that they heard gunshots. That doesn't make sense when someone is walking down the street.
That doesn't matter.
It don't make sense.
The car that makes a U-turn doesn't even matter. What matters is the fourth car, I'm calling it the third car, but the fourth car pulls up and Shamel drinks. You're going to tell me nearly, what, 30 seconds after they shoot him, he has unconscious or involuntary movement and puts his foot on the brake, releases it, and then presses it again? Like, come on, man. Come on. Come on. Come on, Miss Hylton.
About the car that was closest to them.
Let this one go.
You see what time the cars are going. Here are the three cars in a straight line.
Oh, gosh, this is bad.
Do you see that straight line? It's a straight line. The three cars. Shannon's car is directly next to Mr. Drink's car.
You cannot tell.
And that's going to be important when I show you these crime scene photos. This other car that he wants to talk about, that he's like, oh, this is the one who killed, this is the person who shot. Oh, and we couldn't get LPR. What? Where was I going to get LPR from? You can't see no license plate. I don't even know what type of car it is.
I didn't do my job. This is bad. Hylton.
That car is never directly next to Mr. Drinks. It is always behind. I submit they saw what happened. And when they inched up, they looked over, was like, oh, let me get up out of Dodge. As most other cars did, except for Mr. Cheeseborough. Mr. Cheeseborough's call did not come in until 10:27, because every other car did what that car did. They drove by it. That car actually waited at the red light. Versus Mr. Stilwell almost hitting traffic. So this notion that he stopped at the red light, if you didn't just shoot and kill somebody, why are you fleeing through traffic to get on?
They're fleeing through traffic because the other car pulled up. Lady, they saw a car. Can we talk about the speed of the other car? They saw a car speeding up behind them. And you think they're just going to sit at a light? What? Nope. They knew better. Come on now.
On the highway at 90 miles an hour. Use your common sense. Many of y'all, if y'all choose to talk to us at the end and you care once the judge lift all the admonitions, some of you may ask, how I get chosen?
No, I can't with this lady. All right, I'll let her finish.
Because you got common sense. Your common sense will tell you that when you go from 18 miles per hour to 90 miles per hour, when you see the person who you think killed your best friend, that you shot and killed him. That's just your common sense. Not some random car that pulls up behind and unfortunately may have witnessed a shooting and they don't want to be involved. What? Let's look at the car. The crime scene pictures take pictures for a reason. Here go the bullet holes. 1, 2, 3. See, Mr. Shaw didn't show you that. Because if you see the crime scene photos will show you that the bullet went through the door where Mr. Stilwell's car was. And we'll talk about the gunshot residue. What makes sense? There's no muzzle flash anywhere on the video. So that's just nonsense. You don't see no muzzle flash. Mr. Drink's dead though.
So we know I can't do this. I can't do this. This is terrible. This is bad. This is the way she ends. This is the way she ends her closing arguments with this. Ugh. Yo, this is bad, y'all. This is bad. I'm gonna
fire. Let's take his theory. You don't see the muzzle flash when the other car pulls up, do you? You don't.
Yes, you do. What? All right, I'm done. I'm out of here. Oh, you said it gets worse? You don't see the muzzle flash? We looked at it. You can see the muzzle flash. Hey, jury, I know y'all are watching this, so I'm going to just say, ask them if they can zoom in. They don't need to enhance it. Zoom in and slow it down right before the brakes release in the car. Right before that. And you will see a muzzle flash. Good Lord.
That theory makes no sense. You have to take all the evidence, not just FedEx.
I can't believe
but everything that occurred.
Dying on this hill. You gotta let this one go.
Like
Ms.
I told you, he went from literally, y'all, 18 miles all the way to 90.
He thought somebody was about to pull up on him at the red light.
This is the intersection.
They got ops.
This is 1 minute later. What you fleeing for 90 miles per hour if you ain't killed nobody? You was just chilling. And then you go to the studio and do what you do. You brag. Because remember, they all went to the studio. And what he say? Pop my shit. I really got options. Poor little ops. Look how they just dropped it.
Yeah, except you can't prove that it was recorded on that day. I'm done with this. Hey, appreciate y'all. I can't deal with Miss Hylton. It's absolute garbage. Shout out to Amy, dropped the 5 memberships, right along with Dr. EJ, who not only gifted 10 memberships, not 15, not 20, but 30 memberships. Dr. EJ, major sponsor of today's show, gifted 30 memberships. If you got a membership from him or the amazing, awesome Amy, make sure you say thank you. Full Drinking and Half Thinking is in here with the 20 bomb. It says peace and bliss, my guy. Happy holidays from Full Drinking Half Thinking to y'all. Yeah, y'all make sure you go subscribe to Full Drinking Half Thinking. Amazing content creator. He's growing this YouTube over there as well. We've got, is it Lane? Hopefully I said that right. Says, thank you for your commentary, entertaining and informative with the 2 bomb. Thank you so much. The World's End became a new member. Welcome over there. We got the Black Butterfly in here. Said, did she say Yak went into the Infinity at the Texaco? I don't know. She said that. Thank you for the 2 bomb. We've got Shantae in here as well, dropping the 2 bomb. Thank you so much. And then Amy is giving me a coffee, man. Thank you, Amy. So I was over here looking tired. I'm tired of the BS.
Stop the cap.
It's disgusting. Unconscious movements when you're... Yo. The medical examiner said that would be impossible. Rack Racer says, she made you mad enough to sign off. I feel you. Man, that was a horrible way to end her closing statements. I'll probably clip the last like 30 minutes of this and put it on the channel for y'all. So make sure if you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. Let me see what Lily is saying. Lily says, it's clear she lacks perspective and doesn't understand the real life scenarios, likely because she spends so much time in her office without firsthand experience of the situation. And she talks to these guys, so she should know. You heard Woody say she turns the hood on and off. Miss Hylton knows what's up. But this is the, in my opinion, the most glaring error in the state's case, other than, you know, Woody's, most of, if not all of Woody's testimony and his immunity. This is bad. Like, why is she going to sit? You should have went with something else. Anyway, I don't know anything. I'm not a lawyer, and maybe she knows what she's doing. If y'all enjoy some music and you want to hear some music from the independent artists here on the indie community, make sure you tune into Song of the Night live tonight, right here at the on the Classy Beats YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be giving away $100 in cash, and y'all get a chance to win just for showing up to the show. We're going to hear some great music, have a good time. I appreciate all the love and support. Hope y'all have a great weekend. And again, make sure you stay tuned in for a lot of the video clips we'll be dropping this weekend as well. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me see. Am I going to go over this? I might have to do this in a separate video. Because this is 14 pages long. So we might address this on Monday. But we talked about Drake earlier. Drake actually, he dropped another petition. So this is the second petition. I might do this in a separate video, or we'll talk about it Monday. Either way, y'all look out for this. This UMG, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, Spotify thing is going to be crazy. Y'all have a great weekend. I'll see y'all tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. It's going to be fun.